Everybody, welcome to the February 23rd, 2019 budget meeting for the Township of Washington. Council, adequate notice of the meeting was given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by the Township Clerk to at least 2 newspapers on February 19, 2019, and this notice has been posted on the Township Bulletin Board and on the Township website. Please notify the municipal clerk for any disability requirements necessary for attendance at mayor and council meetings. The fire exits are located through the double doors to your right and through the door on your left. Please silence all cell phones. Everybody please stand for a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Councilman Bruno?
Here.
Councilman Casio?
Here.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Ullman?
Here.
Council President DeSena?
Here. Also in attendance, Mayor Peter Calamari, Administrator Tovo, CFO Curran, and Township Clerk Susan Witkowski. Do I have a motion to open the meeting up to the public?
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Ullman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. Seeing no one here, do I have a motion to close the meeting to the
So
public?
moved.
Second.
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Ullman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. Good morning, gentlemen and ladies.
Morning.
We're here to discuss the 2019 budget, so I guess we'll start on
Current fund would be our place to start.
current fund, yes. So what,
Would you like me to do that, or would you like to?
if you'd like to start, Mr. Tovo.
Be happy to. Good morning, thank you for coming. The memo that I put out is a direct reflection of the changes or substantial changes you're going to see in the 2019 proposed current budget. The reason for highlighting these areas was just to start moving the conversation forward. Since then, we've received additional questions on line items, and we'll be happy to answer them to the best of our ability as we work through. Other than these key areas, I don't see a lot of major changes here. I think the mayor, Judy, and I all feel this is a good yet somewhat tight budget based on what we know our expenses and our liabilities could potentially be in 19. But at the end of the day, we want to budget smartly and wisely. We know last year you guys started a process of evaluating staffing and the needs of the township. This year is really a continuation of that because now those things have to be fully funded for a year. And then I think next year we can start seeing that leveling process taking place going forward.
So how was the budget prepared? Was it a run rate or a bottoms up?
It's a run rate. It's a look at needs for the upcoming year. It's based on conversations with all department heads to get a feel for, if you were short here, why? If you were higher here, why? Is that a trend? Is it going to continue that way? Or was it an anomaly or a one-off that created it? I know you had some questions in regards why are some recommended amounts less than what was requested. And that develops through a course of conversation when we drill down and discover, I really don't need that this year. I don't know that'll always be the case, but for 19, I'm okay at a lower amount. So there was a lot of thought, a lot of conversation throughout the entire process. And I think that all the department heads we understand their needs. They also understand that it's a budget and we have to keep costs under control. That said, we're very early in this process. There are still some numbers that may change. And I already know there's some changes in healthcare that, when we get to that section, we'll drill down on. As you know, that's billed to us monthly. Once you're fully staffed and you finally get the premium change from the state, you adjust accordingly. I believe the same thing happened last year. Again, a lot of thought went into this. It certainly wasn't decided in a vacuum. And even where you see one where the run rate shows that postage, I'll use it as an example. It shows a slight reduction this year. That number may move a little bit. There were some late expenses on postage. There were also some things that maybe perhaps should have been charged differently, which would change that number as well.
The other question I have is, appreciate the memo on the overview, it seems that we only have increases.
Correct. We do have some decreases, we do. And as we go through the different departments, you'll see where they are. The reason I didn't highlight decreases as of right now is because overall, we're going to see a slight increase based on where we are right now. As elected officials, that's where you're going to get your heat from. So I thought we should focus on that and fully understand that. And the offsets that might have brought that down will come to light through the process.
Thank you, Mr. Tova. Gentlemen, so if we go to page 1 of the 2019 budget, do we want to start on Department of Administration, salary and wages, number 1, 901, 20, 100, 110, requested amount of $125,000 with a budgeted amount of $125,000. Any comment on that, gentlemen?
That's an actual rate, right?
That's the actual rate, yes.
And just regarding last year, I had a question on what those ins and outs were between the departure of Ms. Grow, Mr. Cavallo, and the arrival of Mr. Tobo. In terms of Mr., I guess, I don't know if Mr. Cavallo was on a hourly, there was agreed salary, but, there's quite a bit of activity, ins and outs. Seems to be some credits, so just trying to understand what that was. And if we don't have the answer, that's fine, but, it's one of the questions that I had inquired about, so it's not relevant to this approval, but it's relevant to understand what happened.
Judy, is that something we could prepare for Mr. Ullman?
Definitely. I just don't know how Matthew was hired. I mean, I don't know if,
If you could speak to
Yeah, we
the
can cover
mayor,
all
we can
that.
come up with that. I guess, so Mr. Ullman, you're looking for the entire salary and wages for Mrs. Grow, the interim salary for Mr. Cavallo, and the remaining part of the year that Mr. Tovo is our administrator, right? Those three numbers?
Yeah, and, there's credits there, there's numbers all, of varying amounts, just trying to understand what it is.
Okay. Are we okay with that line, gentlemen?
I'm fine with it.
You're fine with it? Okay.
The number's the number.
Administrative Secretary, 901, 20, 100, 120. Amount requested is $42,000. Amount budgeted is $42,000.
So how are we dealing with salary and wages and ricing and talking about people?
Nobody was riced for this meeting, Mr. Ullman, so we cannot talk about them specifically. We could just talk about the number.
Which is difficult to do.
I would flag.
Well, I think I can address this without, we're talking about a position here that is vital to the operation of the township. The performance of our employees across the board ranges from exceptional to stellar, and there are some that have done a remarkable job, and we have a very difficult time functioning without them. So when I look at their current salary, I look at the average for Bergen County for those positions, and I feel that an adjustment should be made. I'll make that recommendation, and that's what's reflected here. Generally speaking, all of the raises are about 1.5 across the board.
So there's a name to this position, correct? Which I don't, again.
The person holding the position does have a name.
I think the wages we should really, flag and because, this is the person who's there now.
Let's stop there.
Yeah, I'm just
I know.
saying, so it's hard to talk about because we've had previous conversations about this position, I think.
All right, so let's stop there, and Mrs. Witkowski, can you please prepare a rights notice for that person?
I think in order to make this work more smoothly, if I can respectfully recommend that we do our salary resolution or ordinance, however you want to do it this year, that we list last year's salary, this year's recommended, and we have the discussion about all employees and raises at that time.
Okay, so.
And then I think at that point in time, some of the things that I've been hearing at some of the seminars I've attended is, at that point, we will raise the entire staff.
Correct.
This
Okay.
way you could talk about anybody at any point in time and be done, and this way we're covered.
So
Good idea.
just to that, one of the questions I had asked, and it sounds like what you're proposing to prepare is that as well, but will it be broken down by line? So I understand this person is one line. We have individuals who are across multiple lines. So can we, as I had requested, if it's not overly burdensome to the administration, the name, part-time, full-time, part-time, if they're part-time, what the hours they're working.
My reluctance in doing it for this meeting was I didn't want to insert names into here and have us discuss the
Definitely.
name. But like I said, if we do the breakdown as I recommended, we can break it down. If you are working in 3 different departments, well, here's the name, here are the 3 categories of salaries drawn.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Excellent.
So we'll continue down to purchasing assistant, or do we want to wait till we have
Yeah,
that?
are we holding off on this number, or are we approving
The
this number?
wages, yeah. So just out of curiosity also, does the payroll system flag start date, initial salary date, the history of raises and things?
I couldn't tell you that. I don't know.
I know that it does do the start date. That I know it does.
Okay.
So we're converting the purchasing assistant from part-time to full-time?
That was done last year.
Okay.
And that's also purchasing and payroll.
And payroll, right. It's also
Is
payroll.
everybody okay with that, gentlemen?
Purchasing.
901-20-100, 140, 45,675. The mayor's request is 45,675.
When was the conversion done? Do we know?
From part-time, I want to say about halfway through the year in the summer. Yeah.
So, and then maybe you can explain, the run rate in 17 was 21, in 18 was 24, so there's no increase year over year. And now, I understand that this is a full-time job, but I would have expected 18 to be a little higher, or no?
Well,
She may have started later, right?
She was part-time.
and it
Christina
was-
was part-time.
it was part-time up until then, so it wasn't a full-time, like from January through July or so.
She was part-time January.
Well,
through
a different
with the
person, yes, different person.
It was full, it was filled though, part-time.
Correct.
January to July.
Correct, yes,
And then it was converted to full-time
correct.
in July
July
to
or so,
December.
right, correct.
So I guess my only question is, we went, in 17, we're at 21.
Mm-hmm.
In 18, it went up $3,000 to 24.
Right.
So how does that equate to a full-timer for half a year? And now we're at,
We'll
so I'm not
we'll have to look
arguing-
that up also.
I'm not arguing the number that's proposed.
Right.
I understand what that is. Again, what happened last year? And is that the right number? And was this function performed somewhere else that we should be aware of?
I can answer that. I think payroll was not in that position. I think payroll at one point in time was being done by Joy, I believe, and maybe even by Mary Ann Grove for a while.
Correct.
So that's, because she's doing payroll. This actually is purchasing assistant and payroll.
Okay.
And one of the reasons why it's not divided up, which the state has changed their, the law, if you have 2 positions, you only get pensionable for one of the positions. So her pension would only be like based on half of that salary then.
Mary Ann did payroll for a while,
Yes.
and she
Right.
passed it at the very end to the other woman.
To Joy?
Yeah, no,
Oh, to,
Christine.
girl that, Christine.
Christine,
Right.
who has it
And then
now,
when
yes.
Christina left, Mary Ann
Yes.
picked up until we
Right.
hired Dina.
Okay.
Okay.
Everybody okay with that number? Gentlemen? Dr. Casio?
Yes.
Floating staff, 901-20-100, 160, 15,238 requested, 15,238 budgeted. Be okay with that, gentlemen?
Let's define floating staff at this point, if Mr. Turtle can explain.
Certainly. Floating staff is designed to fill in gaps for vacations or training or departments that need assistance during certain times of the year. Tax would be a good example. During tax season, it's very busy over there, and extra manpower is required to process the incoming payments. Right now, I think we are right-staffed to meet the needs of the township. and with some of the new law, one new law in particular that's come out on prompt payment by municipalities, we will need that floating personnel to help get our purchase orders out in a timely fashion, because all bills have to be paid within 60 days unless
So
disputed.
is this one person, or it can be anyone in the building that we're putting in different positions?
This is, right now, the way we operate is one person that floats.
One person that
Yeah.
floats, and that person has no other position other than this floating, or is it someone?
I would say the majority of the time is spent in tax, because that's where the need is, but there will be additional roles in payroll. She does assist she does assist administration with some responsibilities, so her day is very full. And it's not a full day, it's, I believe, 4 days a week, 4 or 5 hours per day.
Okay, thank you.
So, understanding what you're saying, we are moving towards full-time staff. There's been a commitment. The administration has committed to hiring people. The council has funded these individuals. I am trying to just understand, and you've partially explained it, but the continuing need for floating staff. So I would expect, as we are hiring full-time, we have a full-time purchasing assistant, so you talked about POs having to be processed on a timely basis. I mean, I'm assuming this purchasing assistant will assist with that and ensure that that happens. So, and tax, there's 3 heads in the tax, or 3 salary lines in the tax.
And we'll get to that. Just let me answer the first part of your question. The way it was previously being done, when a purchase order was cut, it was returned back to the department to mail out and track from there. Both Joy and I feel that is not a good practice, especially when we're under a deadline to make sure the bills are paid. That's a lot of purchase orders to be mailed out by one person. So that floating staff is going to assist in getting those bills out, tracking them, and making sure the checks go out in a timely fashion. Prior to this law, maybe some viewed it as less vital to have it out in a timely fashion. I would disagree with that, law or not. So that floating staff, I think, is vital in assisting in that process. While I agree that the full-time personnel and the moves we made there are serving the township much better than previous, when there's an opportunity to use, a part-time personnel with no additional benefits tied to them, I think we should take full advantage of that. And this position does suit that.
Are all just out of curiosity, the purchase orders now being signed off by each person at respective departments now? Because in the past, it was like one signature and
Yes.
for 5 different
Everyone signs off
departments.
on it.
Okay.
Do we know how many hours a week approximately?
20?
20?
We okay with this, gentlemen, for 901, 20, 100, 160?
What's the hourly? I might need to
Understanding Mr. Tovo, I really feel that we have committed to full-time staff, so I would vote no to funding this line.
Dr. Casio, what's your vote?
Well, I understand that the laws have changed, and I feel that you need someone in an area when you're short, okay? But to Mr. Ullman's point, the reason why we're hiring these full-time people now as opposed to part-time is to fully staff it and not have to do this floating and shifting through departments. So I'm kind of on the fence with it, but at this point, I'm gonna approve it.
Okay.
But I feel that we really have to, in the future, and I know this is a big transition for us, if we're gonna fund the department fully, and we're gonna give them these merit increases or in general increases overall, we should really try and do away with the floating staff.
So why don't we evaluate this during the course of this year?
And I'd like to just say also, a lot of this is filling in for people's vacation, which full-time people do get vacation anywhere from 2 to 5 weeks, and so that's also partially this role.
That's understood. That's understood.
Mr. Bruno?
I mean, I agree with Mike, but what I guess, again, what I'd like to see is, you know, who, where, what's the game plan for this? If they're filling in for vacation, you know, I mean, just give us a little bit of something to look at so that we feel comfortable that if we got a floater, that it works for the town. So can we, you know, just get a little more detail and flag it?
I don't know if we've been keeping track so far, but would you like to know,
No, but you
like,
can-
where,
you can
which
come up with
department
some-
she's
well,
working
yeah,
in
you
and
come
how
up with
many
a description.
hours approximately?
I mean, everybody else has a title
right.
and a function. This one is a floater, so, okay, so let's just see what they're floating. I mean, just come up with a job description.
I mean, what are the major
Yeah, it
departments that they're floating in? At
It
this
should be
point, is it
tracked at
tax?
some level.
Right.
Is it
Tax and administration, and we're going to add purchasing to that.
Yeah, so then, you know, it begs a lot of questions like, well, what's happening in tax and what's happening in purchasing, and do we have the right people, blah, blah, blah. So that's all.
When we, is there a policy
Gentlemen,
if
we're
we-
talking about a $15 an hour employee.
Well, it's a procedural.
I understand.
I know that, but it's a vital, it's filling in when people are out, it's filling in during tax season, I guess quarterly, when everybody comes and brings their checks and they need to be processed and put into the system.
To be perfectly blunt, what this position does, it creates seamless operation. When somebody's out, we don't skip a beat, and that's vital.
It's a total of, if you do 20 hours a week times 52, it's 1,040 hours a year. Comes out to about $14.95. I'm sure they make, excuse me, $15 an hour. Mr. Bruno, you didn't say if you were okay with it or not okay with
No,
it.
I'd like to get more information on it, is what I said, so
Okay.
I guess no then.
Mr. Cumming?
Sir, I've seen the ebb and flow of business in townships with tax being a very, very busy time. I've seen part-time people brought in to help handle that in the other town that I worked in. And I'm very familiar with the needs, and so I would only approve this.
Okay, thank you. I'm in favor of it, so we'll move on. Grant consultant, 901-201-100-170. There is nothing budgeted. Mr. Toba, do we have the requests back from the
We
grant
did.
consultant?
We received 2 RFQs on Thursday. One was for a yearly retainer amount, and one was per project, or per award.
The percentage of the project?
Percentage of the awarded project.
Of
So-
the amount we get, you mean? Sorry to
Correct,
interrupt.
the amount
Okay.
awarded. So by our next meeting, I'll have that recommended number for you.
So we'll skip this and have a,
Yes.
we'll revisit this once we have that number.
Correct.
Thank you. Admin office supplies, 901-201-100-210, 2,500 requested, 2,500 budgeted. Is everybody okay with that?
I'm good.
That's good.
Admin postage, 901-201-100-220, 6,000 requested, 6,000 budgeted. Is everybody okay with that?
Why do we anticipate a decrease?
Yes.
A bit of a moving target here. There are
Okay.
things that were charged to different areas. This number might move slightly once we unravel the entire puzzle here.
Okay.
But it won't exceed what last year's was, but it might move closer to that.
Okay, so basically there's postage all over the place and we're just trying to,
Centralize it.
okay.
So at one point, I didn't even remember which year, we talked about, I think it was the tax statement mailings, and we were going to use some system. Is our former part-time CFO, she's not here anymore, right? Okay, so Ashley had come up with some scheme, I think, to do mailings. Did we ever do that? It was supposed to be cheaper, and it wasn't.
We did that last year with the tax bills where the company,
Is that part of this postage?
I don't claim to remember
I don't
offhand. I don't think it
No, I
is.
think it's
I
under
actually
tax.
asked Joy about that yesterday, so it's one of the things I wanted to investigate, because I think, well, the whole thing for Evans doing that, but I think that's being just charged to the revenue.
Right.
Are we okay with this line, gentlemen?
I'm okay with it.
Mr. Alman?
We can move forward. We feel confident this number will cover.
Yeah, I mean,
This expense
I'd
for the year?
rather see it increased if we're not 100%. But if that's the
Like
Like I
recommendation.
said, I know this will move a little bit, and
You're okay with it, Mr. Toba?
like I said, I'm okay that it will move a little bit from where it is once we unravel it. So my statement would be, this will be budgeted correctly by the time we conclude this process.
All right, so that's fine.
Admin, books and subscriptions, 901, 100, 240. 100 budgeted, 100 requested. Is everybody okay with that?
I'm fine.
Yep.
Admin dues and conferences, 901, 100, 250. $1,250 requested, $1,250 budgeted. This is, nothing was used last year. Mr. Tovo, the increase?
Yeah, historically, if you're going to, attend things like the league and other, professional conferences that, bring value to, the employees of the township, you have to budget for it. I can't tell you right now, other than the league, what I would utilize this for, but there are classes popping up every day that, can be of value.
Is this for you? For your position, I mean?
Primarily, yes.
Okay.
So, again, fully agree with it, but in one of my notes, I had asked if we could compile, or at least have an understanding of who it is, what they're going to, what's the subject matter, is it related to their role, is it related to a future role? Is it mandated by a regulatory body or, for their certification? So, League of Municipalities, Bob Tovo, is 500 and, TBD is 700 or whatever those numbers might be. But I think it would benefit us if we knew who we were investing in, just like, and the same goes for training. I mean, I think last year, the administration requested quite a bit, and I think we fully supported all of it, and I will fully support it again, but I think it's, we had a year of it, we're into year 2 of this increased support, and I think we need to understand a little more clearly who is going, what they're going for, and why the town is benefiting from this. So I support that, but I think we need a little more clarity.
Mr. Tovo, does anybody, you approval, anybody going to conferences? Who makes the final decision, you or the mayor?
The mayor.
Yeah.
Has everybody's training or conferences been in direct relation to their position? We don't have somebody taking business
From
classes that's
recollection, yes,
a,
in DMF, I would say some has to do with, future responsibilities that they want to take on also.
but it's all part of their position.
Of their job description, I
We
would
haven't
say.
had like somebody, taking classes that are outside their specialty.
No, I wouldn't
To be,
approve it.
to not have to get into rights notice. to
Yeah,
anybody.
yeah, no.
Okay.
Well, in the past, there have been people that we've sent the class, and they've left after we paid for the class, and sometimes we have not covered that cost. So I'm sure the administration has something in place regarding that.
We do.
Certainly.
Okay, so that's.
Do we have the
that's my
2-year
concern.
policy of if you leave within 2 years, you have to repay it?
Well, it's got to be staggered. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's it.
if you leave within 12 months, you have to pay the full amount, and then
Yeah,
it
okay.
Okay.
drop. To Mr. Allman's point, though, I do agree that we need to give a list of the classes that we envision our employees taking. But for example, DMF might be a little bit difficult to name the exact person
Right.
till we line up who will be responsible for what. So,
Okay. We okay with this, gentlemen?
I'm fine with it.
Yes.
Mr. Burrow?
Yep.
Mr. Allman?
Yes.
Travel, mileage, and stipend, 901, 20, 100, 280, 600 requested, 600 budgeted. We okay with this, gentlemen?
I am.
Yes.
Admin, copy machine, 901, 20, 100, 290, 1,900 budgeted, 1,900 requested.
Looks like it's a number consistent with
Yeah.
historical, right?
Contract number?
Yes.
it is, yes.
We okay, gentlemen?
Yeah, this is one of my things that I mentioned, these all should be contractual, so there shouldn't really be a guessing game. So this is based upon monthly invoices, I assume, give or take a few dollars?
Yeah, for the most part, like you say, just for overages if we go
Right.
over in any given month. Yeah.
Did we ever try to combine all our leases on?
I'm
the
working on
machine?
that.
Okay, good, thanks.
Admin, furniture and equipment, 901, 20, 100, 300, 6,200 requested, 6,200 budgeted. Mr. Tovo, why is the increase?
The increase is due to a donation of furniture from a law firm in Paramus, and we are responsible for moving that furniture, which is going to be about $3,000.
But we're getting some very high-end
So we get the
furniture.
furniture for free, but we
Yes.
have to pay the mover to bring it here?
Correct.
Okay.
It's probably at full retail, $100,000 worth of furniture.
Yeah, I mean, and we're not just taking it, we've identified areas that, need a lot of it also.
Who's going to, just broadly, who's going to benefit? All, the second floor? Is it's basically being redone?
The police chief, a lot on the second floor.
Third floor, I think.
Yeah, some for the third floor, correct. Yeah.
We envision some use for the future ambulance corps and fire building. Maybe we can reduce our expense on furniture there, so
Right.
I think we can confidently use it all up.
Yes.
Is it storage racks or is it actual furniture?
No, it's desks and
Desks
credenzas and...
Yeah, very, very high-end stuff.
Are we okay with this, gentlemen?
Must be business looking like it.
It
It's nice.
Who's on the third floor now?
Recreation,
And that's who we had at one time, right? Just rec?
yeah.
I think fire prevention.
Oh, fire
Fire
prevention
prevention, yeah.
also, yeah, and OEM.
There's also the health office up there.
OEM's up there right now.
Help is with the clerk's office.
Sounds like a wonderful deal. If all we have to do is
So-
pay
so-
for the moving, that's
Are we okay with this,
Can't
gentlemen?
beat it.
Yeah, I just have one
Taxpayers.
question.
For
So this,
$3,000 for $100,000, that's a
Yeah,
steal.
so this-
We'll make that,
so this includes
You
the...
can't all talk at the same
Gentleman
time,
I
I
used to
can't hear
coach
you.
baseball with.
Mr.
Gentlemen,
Cassio,
Sorry.
Cassio, what's your question?
I had no question, I'm
Yeah,
fine.
Mr.
Mr.
Bruno,
Bruno did.
Mr. Bruno, what's
Yeah,
your
so
question?
I just
We
want to
move on?
make sure, so this includes the pickup and the moving cost, and are we going to use our DMF guys to take everything out?
No.
So we have to pay, does this include,
Yeah, that's mostly what it is.
so it's the in and out and and the moving?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay.
We okay with this, gentlemen?
Yes.
Okay, moving on.
Mr. Cumming, that was a gentleman I used to coach baseball with, called me up and said, do you want it?
Advertisements, 901, 100, 310, 1750 requested, 1750 budgeted. Are we okay, gentlemen?
that looks good.
We're not going to see any decrease?
I think we may, yeah. You know, to your point, we did advertise for more positions last year. Today, I don't foresee that need, and I hope that, stays that way.
And again,
So if
I'd
you
like to-
recommend a reduction, I have no objection to that.
I know we're trying to identify each line item, but again, if there's extra, we can move that up to postage until we get a better feel this year as to, how things settle out now that we're fully staffed.
Can we leave it the way it is, gentlemen, and move on? Everybody okay with that?
I'm okay with it. It's within the line.
Admin training, 901, 100, 370, 2,000 requested, 2,000 budgeted. It's the same as last year. We okay with that, gentlemen?
I guess Michael asked the same question, but I'll do it for him.
Well, we're going to get the list of all people being trained, but we could approve the line item as it is, and we'll get the information later.
I'm in favor of any training anybody can get.
And there's money left over in last year's budget anyway, so.
Yeah, I was going to say, considering we used about half, and that was while we were going through a lot of personnel in admin, I think it's well spent for the one person who will be going forward.
Are we okay with it, gentlemen, or do you want to reduce it?
Okay.
To be direct, the courses would be primarily QPA or CPM.
And they will go for 1,000 or more.
Is the
Yeah.
QPA for you, Bob?
It would be, yes.
That's maintenance of the certification, or we need...
No, to attain it, there's classes to be taken.
Okay.
So you are QPA?
I'm not.
You're not. Okay, so you have to become?
Well, it's a discussion the mayor and I are having.
Yeah, and we knew that going in when we hired.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, I just know that a former administrator went for classes, and, which was okay, but I just knew we had purchase orders, we're always getting hung up because of this QPA conversation, which I don't really remember, but, so as long as we get it done, that's good.
I can tell you so far that no purchase orders are being held up for lack of a QPA.
Okay. Wasn't it with quotes, though? She couldn't get
Yes,
quotes? or
correct,
something?
right.
I think, and speaking with Mr. Tovo,
Fire truck we couldn't
yeah,
get.
Yeah.
I think Mr. Tovo knows his way around purchase orders, and kudos to him. I think we've gotten a lot of things, purchase orders. Department heads have been very pleased. Within a day to 3 days, we've had the stuff here. So I think, Bob, to your question, I think that scenario is gone of purchase orders taking months to get created. You know, I know there was parts for the garbage truck when it broke down during leaf season, and Bob had the parts here within 3 days or 7 days tops because they didn't have them in stock, but, you know,
And the lawn care?
the lawn care, the vendor had everything, so I think we're beyond that at this point, so. Admin printing, zero, are we eliminating this line, Mr. Tolo?
There is, you'll see printing amongst most of the departments, and we are getting rid of it for
So can
all
we-
but the court.
So can we eliminate that line then?
Yes.
All right, so we're going to eliminate that line.
-5,
Eliminate line 901-20100, 470.
oh, 470, I'm sorry.
Now, I do apologize, in the beginning, I meant to mention that the document itself, the budget itself, will need some cleanup when we're done, delete some items that are, you know, no longer utilized, but I wanted to leave them in for the purpose of the discussion.
Thank you. Admin miscellaneous, $500 requested, $500 budgeted, 901-20100, 500.
Bob, can you explain the huge expense last year on,
That's what I.
So it's
Like that
5,000
myself.
for the executive search, and there's advertising for a bus driver, which I don't understand. Again, there was a question, we may not have the answer yet, but we smeared the Canning Group expense over 3 departments in 3 different lines, and don't know why. And there is, you know,
That was 12,000, right, Mike?
you know,
It was
Yes, approximately 12.
Yeah, 12,000.
and there is, you know, misclassed expenses. So I know it gets boring to hear people ask questions because it's just a number, but, you know, this is why we want to look at these and want to make sure that things are categorized properly, because, you know, why is 5,000 in there for the executive search?
I think I can answer that.
Yeah, or I can also.
That's okay?
Go ahead.
Well, let me jump in real quick before we do this. Anytime you have an unexpected expense occur, especially a dollar amount such as this, you have no choice but to spread that over different departments simply to pay the bill. You know, and that's what happened in 18. Now, in an ideal world, you know, you'd want to, you know, charge it all off to the appropriate line item, but if you don't have it or it's underfunded, you have to find the funding elsewhere.
Fully agree, but shouldn't, when we true up, we do plenty of budget transfers come November 1st, shouldn't we be truing this up? Because, again, if someone is looking at a run rate, if we say we do a run rate plan, the run rate has $5,000 in it, and there's $5,000 in the council that is not part of our run rate, and there's $2,000 in law, which, you know, is not part of his run rate. So I fully agree, we had to pay the bill and we had to find the money somewhere, but at some point, shouldn't we true it up and get it into the proper category?
Well, I think maybe it had to do with the control number, right? Because if you don't have it in the control, can you take it?
No, it's got to be in the
It's
control.
got to be in the control, and that's why, and now I understand why, because you couldn't take it from administration, move it somewhere else. You have to have it from that control.
But
Control's
Mr. Roman,
worthless.
should we have cleaned it up at the end of the year? is, I
Yeah,
think, the
exactly.
question. Yeah.
And I want to say, you know, as we know, we brought on someone full-time in December. You know, if the ideal world had that position been filled ongoing, you know, I'm sure it would have been done, but we couldn't expect someone coming in December to necessarily get all this cleaned up for 18.
I think to your point, if that were to occur again, that's precisely what we would do in November, December,
Right.
make those transfers so that you have a true accounting, you know, in the appropriate location to see, you know, what we spent and why we spent it. But I can tell you that with everything we're trying to get done here and Ms. Curran's arrival, that was not a high priority, but,
Okay,
you know.
so going back to the top of the page, in 2015, we had no actual expense in postage and admin. Anyone know why?
2015 postage?
Offhand, I wouldn't hazard a
Of
guess.
course, none of,
Right.
it's a rhetorical
Okay,
question.
okay.
So, again, I'm sure that's somewhere else. Maybe it wasn't planned, maybe we, you know, had to spend it, it was provided for in another line. I'm sure whatever postage we had, we took care of, but there's no visibility, there's no transparency. So,
I agree. And
Again-
Also, I think we're all cognizant of the CFO staffing, even going back to that year, was not where it needed to be, beyond most of our controls here.
So,
Gentlemen, we're getting off topic. We're here, I understand, Mike, you're absolutely right, the transparency is not there. But
we're not off topic.
Well, we're
because
talking about 2015. You were a councilman in 2015.
I'm giving an example.
We didn't
I'm
take care
giving
of it
an
in
example,
2000. But
Mike.
we can't spend hours and hours on this. We need to move on.
But the reality is,
So
In
18,
2015,
can we still make adjustments in 18?
2015, we should have taken care of that.
I agree, Mike.
I think the reality is, I sit at my table and I flip through every page, and then I take this other thing and I flip through every page, and you see it, there's 5,000, and then you track it, there's 5,000, and then you find another 5 and another 2, and we sit here and we're wasting time because no one tells us where all this $12,000 went. If we sat here and said, hey, guys, computer, whatever it is, there's 5,000 in there, here's what happened, and it's in 3 other spots. I mean, if you go through here, I made notes, it's a painstaking process to do this, spends hours doing it, and then we say, we need to know. I mean, we're trying to budget numbers, and Mike asked the first question, a run rate, so the run rate would be $5,000 next year, correct?
Correct.
So do we put in $5,000?
No.
No, because we don't need it, because we don't have the canning.
Because someone is going through and looking at it and, figuring this out.
So Judy, in Mr. Ullman's question, is it too late to go back and make these adjustments, or it'll screw the audit up?
The FAS is done. That's, your financials are done.
So the 2018 financials are done?
Yeah, so at this point, you wouldn't even pay you would just be reclassifying. You have to come back in, redo the general ledger, AFS is done, so that would really screw the numbers.
But
I mean,
in
what
Mr.
was spent was spent.
In Mr. Tovo's remarks, he had said that going forward, you're going to be able to keep track of this since you're here full-time.
Right, well, I could see what happened, that's why I wanted to address it.
But going forward in November, like Mr. Ullman had asked, would you make those budget changes and had fixed that in
Yes,
20,
in fact-
if that happens in 2019, will you be here and be able,
Right,
can I
yes.
put you on the record to say you will fix
Yes, as a
that?
matter of fact, I just did that with the gasoline, because Dina came to me and I said, listen, if something is overspent, you can't pay it. If you don't have enough money, you have to make a transfer. And I think what happened here was probably the bill came in, I don't know when Mr. Tovo started, I think Dina was brand new, so someone said it had to get paid. If I was here at that time, I would have never done it that way. It would never have been approved payment unless the transfer was done.
Could you just move the
So you're-
microphone
you're
closer?
mon-
Sorry.
You're monitoring everything and where it goes into this
Yes.
admin's general ledger?
Yes.
Because
That's-
we've never had that before.
Right, that's why I
And,
didn't let
for
Dina
4
pay,
years,
I didn't let Dina
trying to-
pay those,
Trying to audit
those
this.
gas bills because
process.
there was not enough money.
Okay.
Are we okay with leaving it at 500, gentlemen?
What line item?
901, 20,
Miscellaneous.
100, 500.
The $500.
It looks for 16 and 17, that was well within budget. And who knows with the past accounting in 14, 15, why it was $1,000 more. And we know what happened in 18, we had to come up with 15 grand, and we put it over 3 budgets. So it looks like that's more than enough at this point. Not excessive, but should be able to cover that line.
All right. Admin plaques, 901, 20, 100, 790. Can we eliminate this line, Mr. Tovo?
It should be eliminated already. It's 5 years, 1, 2,
Yep.
3, 4, it's the 5th year, so it's.
Well, I think we eliminated like 50 lines last year, so I'm sure we have 2 already this year.
Yeah,
So.
we have a few that will come
Yeah.
out.
Computer software, 901, 20, 100, 810, $9,000 budgeted, 9,000 requested.
Request is primarily for tracking software, first tracking citizen complaints and generating job tickets and so forth. If I can find the right product for the right price, we can also include our admin scheduling and vacation time and training and all that into it as well. I would like to explore that as well. I think that tracking software out there now will just make us that much more efficient and accountable to the public.
So is it an HR software?
Well, there's a couple out there that started with, one field of expertise like construction, and they've kind of branched out offering different municipal municipal services, some are HR-based that turned into citizen tracking and so forth. So I'm really weighing out which one
Yeah,
best suits us.
we're reviewing them to see which one we can get the most bang for the buck for
Exactly.
across all departments.
So that was going to be my question. So I could see this as the administrative secretary getting incoming calls, but the DMF secretary also receives quite a bit of calls. We have an Excel
Would
spreadsheet.
replace our call log, in fact.
Okay, so would this be, this 9K, would it cover the licensing for just admin or the entire organization, entire township, town hall?
The entire.
Last year, we spent money for Archive Social. What is that? It's a subscription.
It is, and that is, I just had a conference call or webinar with them yesterday. What they give us the ability to do is our public pages, our Facebook, whether it be the police, fire, and we also are
Library.
looking for that library. If we have an open request, they can go in and capture that information for us so we can be compliant with the Oprah rules. Currently, we're not doing that.
They
We
take
need
snapshots
to.
of the Facebook page and can
Is this a one-time or is this a recurring
To record.
recover.
at that level?
Correct.
So the tracking software might be 6 to 7K?
Correct.
6,600.
Again, we're collecting in, prices now. This might move a little bit, but right now I'm comfortable where it is.
We okay with this, gentlemen?
So this
Definitely.
9,000 is recurring?
No, 9,000 is the social
No,
number.
2,300 's
The 2,300 is recurring, and the new software for Mr. Tova, and the whole
Well, is
staff,
the
actually.
tracking going to be recurring, or is there just the one up front and then some maintenance? Which one we
subscription
go with?
Depends on which one we
Yeah.
utilize. Some have a bigger upfront cost and a lower reoccurring.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that the better ones are yearly reoccurring.
And it includes licenses too, I assume.
Yes, sir.
I mean, definitely, because, I mean, we went from a hand log to an Excel spreadsheet.
Right.
We need to get in the habit of whether the request comes from the mayor, myself, or you, or the citizen, we need to all log it in.
Sure.
At the end of the month, I can run a report for council and the mayor and say, this is what
It's a
came
great
in, this is
activity
how.
tracker.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah, okay.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Are we okay with this, gentlemen? Mm-hmm. Computer supplies will eliminate this line?
You can't.
It can't. This is something where every few years we'll need to put money in there.
Okay, so it's
Sure we
zero
have
this
a
year.
name.
820 is zero, gentlemen, we'll leave it at that. Computer maintenance, nothing is budgeted, requested, and nothing is,
Yeah, well, the computers are pretty new, so.
Yeah.
we'll leave that in there for future.
No server issues?
There's no maintenance.
I think
God
that's
bless.
further down in a different department, right?
Thank you.
Because Jim did recommend a server upgrade, right?
And that is in capital.
Capital, right.
There is, it's defined as maintenance, so we're not going to keep a maintenance contract on our,
Again, that's,
covered
well,
somewhere.
hardware maintenance, no, we are not. Software maintenance, like for Jim's consulting, is somewhere else. Again, I don't remember where it is offhand. But for hardware maintenance,
No.
all the computers are new except for the server,
Yeah, well, yeah, I
which
think
we're
it's
talking about up.
new enough where I don't think we need to
Okay.
budget this year.
IT further on.
Correct.
Right.
Admin maintenance and support for equipment, 90120 100 200, nothing this year for that, gentlemen.
Nothing this year.
Admin IT services, 90120 103 200, 18,500 requested, 19,000 budgeted.
Can you just give me a minute for a second? 21.
That's probably a typo,
It's
right,
on
Bob? They
page
should have all been the
11.
same going
Should
across.
they be the same, Bob?
That is a typo,
Yeah.
my apologies.
So,
So budgeted and requested is 18,500 or 19,000, which one's wrong?
18.5.
Gentlemen, the 19,000 is a typo, it should be 18,500.
So this is Author iNet Consulting. And it was also in another, I just saw it in another.
Didn't we switch services last year, Mr. Mayor?
It was in the computer maintenance account.
Yes, we did, last year or the prior year? Sue, you
No,
might
it was
remember.
this year, but I don't think it was like January. I think
Yeah,
it was
okay.
March or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, we had to
wasn't a
give
full year,
them, we
we
had to
had
give
the
them
other
a
one.
minimal contract at the beginning of the year, if I remember correctly, and then we went to the new service
Yeah.
around March or
We
April.
we brought him in with all the new computers that we
Correct,
got.
yes.
Yeah.
And are we going to move the financial services, or should we have it in admin, the expense? Is that part of the run rate?
Yeah, let me look at that. Maybe that should be moved.
What are you talking about? Which one?
In the actuals, page 11, there's 34, 44, 54.
All the admin lines.
$6,000 in admin software, that's financial software. Page 11 on the actual. You know, probably doesn't matter because it's last year, but just, you know,
Oh, I see, yeah.
yeah.
Well, it does matter, Mr. Altman, it's just we can't spend hours and hours on 15 budget items.
And where do you
So
want to
If
put
you want
it?
to be snarky, we can be snarky.
Well, if it's financial and escrow accounting, should it go into, should be part
Yeah,
of?
it should be software instead of IT services.
Yeah, we'll look at that.
You could do that.
So it's software.
For this year, we'll recategorize it.
We okay with the 18,500 number, or Mr. Tovey, you want to revisit this once you get the other information?
We'll take a look. I'm comfortable with the number. We may need to, you know, over the overall number, we may move it around to make it clearer for tracking.
That's fine.
So we'll tag this one, gentlemen?
Which one?
901-20-103-200.
Well, I would say approve it, and if it
Okay.
has to be
All right.
reclassed in the
Reallocated.
final, you'll just highlight that we're moving.
Yeah.
So everybody's okay with the 18.5, and then we'll reclass if we need to? All right. Under Office of the Mayor, 901-20-110-100, $10,236 requested, $10,236 budgeted. Is everybody okay with that?
You know, in the past, and this is no reflection on the current mayor or any.
None taken.
Okay, please, that's not it, but,
Yes.
you know, we're public servants, we're not doing this for the glory, we're not doing it for the money. And I've always said, you know, there's a pension associated with this number for not only the mayor's office, but the council's office. And I would like, again, no reflection on the mayor, to bring that down to I think it's under $5,000, so it's not pensionable. You know, I think you're not gonna make a living on the $30 you're gonna give us every month, okay? Not gonna buy a pizza. And again, that's just my say, I've been saying it for years, and Pete knows, I've said, for the council, we shouldn't get anything, because it's really a service that we do. But that's my opinion, and you can take it for what it is. I know other municipalities spend a lot more, but again,
Judy, what does it cost the town, you happen to know offhand, like for the mayor and council, the 10,000 and whatever the council for pension contribution, could you ballpark it, or?
Well, I think you would be in DCRP, which is considered part-time. I think that just recently was raised to maybe 5 to 6%, so it's not a lot of money, really. It's not, right? I think it's 5 or 6%. It's very, very, I mean, the town does match that.
Our DCRP overall number is very low,
It's
so.
very, very low.
And, you know, again, not speaking for myself, but the mayor position, now that I've been in it, you know, you're expected to go to a lot of fundraisers
I
and things,
understand
and some
that,
money
Mayor.
comes with the job,
I
and,
know.
so,
Yeah.
it's,
But that's,
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
you know what my philosophy for years was,
Yeah.
so I just
Yeah.
want to put it out there, that's all.
I would just, in my questions or comments, I just said that the council, because we are over the pensionable, keep it at 4 and it's fixed, and the mayor double that at 8 and it's fixed, and we don't have a COLA, and we don't, you know, that's the number. So, you know, whether it's 6 of one, half dozen of another, people get nothing, people get 10, people get 5,900, whatever it is, you know, I think we just have to agree on it.
Yeah,
So,
I think a fixed rate would be something that would be fair over the years, but that's, you know, and that number we can
are
determine.
those numbers too big for a stipend where it would not be pensionable? Is that even allowed?
You could
You
shoot
could
it from
do a
the hip.
I don't think why you
stipend,
can't
but
stipend.
once the stipend's over 600, you still get
Oh,
taxed
okay,
on
so-
it. The only thing is what I have seen in terms of, just in terms of like mayor and council, some towns actually have little money in O&E, So where you have something going on, you could spend money in O&E, and then you would void, what you're talking about as far as
What's O&E?
other expense, like say if you had to go somewhere, whatever, you had to go somewhere, whatever, that would be charged to that, and you would
Right.
still get your salary at 45, but at least you're not dipping into your salary to attend
What is the actual number for pension? It's got to be under,
under
over
5,000.
Under 5,000, that's what I thought.
5,000.
And I agree with Judy, in many municipalities, that's exactly how it's done.
That's what it's
A lower
done.
salary, but there is an O&E line item to cover events and fundraisers.
Right, because a lot of times you
rubber
are
chicken
spending your
dinners
own
and-
money to travel.
Yeah, but I'm comfortable,
But, I mean,
I'm
that's-
sure Peter is the same way, Peter and I attend a lot of these functions, Mr. Cumming, you do too, Dr. Cassia. Just to take it out of the salary, it comes out of your salary expenses. I wouldn't want on top, like what you're saying. You're saying on top of everything else, like to have something, I'm not
It would
looking.
probably still be a similar total amount.
But
So-
I think it's easier for me to just pay it out myself
But
from
in other
my,
words, like say for instance, say if the 45 keeps them on the threshold for the pension, okay, but they really deserve to get 5,000, okay, they'd get the 45, but it's not being pensionable, but the $500 would just be in O&E in case they needed to spend that.
I'm not looking
That's,
for
I'm
money
just
for the
saying,
donuts.
that's how they, that's.
that's what I'm saying, that's all I'm saying.
All right?
I don't think we would want to go down that path.
No, I don't think so either.
Either we're going to keep
I'm
it,
saying, I told him to get the
I'm
club.
in favor, I'm in favor of keeping it, gentlemen. Mr. Bruno?
I don't have I agree, but I don't have a problem.
I mean,
Mr.
right
Cumming,
now,
you have
does
a problem
council
with
get
it?
5,000 right now?
I'm in favor of
Wants to get
keeping it
5,000
because-
No, I think we're like
I
6.
spent
Six?
hundreds
Oh, okay.
on
6 and
bagels
change, I'm not really
coffee
sure.
Right, for the
air
workers,
conditioning guys,
right.
Yeah, I mean, we
that
spend a
put in
lot.
these new units.
Correct. So a majority
It's
says to
expense
keep
money.
it. So are we okay with the line item, 901-201-10-100?
Well, let me just make a caveat. Maybe, since we're up above that, maybe we can just cap it, make a cap from now on, just leave it. I mean, it's a while. For future years,
You mean not to increase it each year?
not to increase it each year.
Each year.
So we okay with leaving it with the
I'm just-
2018 rates and maxing them out at the 2018 rates? Everybody okay with that, gentlemen? No cost of living for council and mayor and council?
Okay.
Does that work, Mr. Cassia?
I mean, it was just a suggestion. It's up to the council.
Mr. Ullman, you okay with that?
I prefer us to all be cut, but, if the consensus is to keep it, then.
You make a recommendation.
But are you okay with capping it at the 2018 rates, or do you want to, is it okay to give the cost of living with that also?
You want to cut from 10.
Bring it to 10,085.
Yeah, we're going to go back to 18 for all the mayor and council budgets. All right? Let's make that change.
Well, last year, I didn't collect for half a year because my pension prevented it. So I worked at half.
We'll just raise yours up to
half
make
rate.
up. How's that sound?
I worked at half rate.
Mayor office supplies, we have a reduction.
So what do we do with this one?
We're going to go back to the 2018 rates.
2018.
So get time and a half for Saturday mornings.
Yes.
Double time after 11:30.
Mayor office supplies, 901-201-10-210, 100 requested, 100 budgeted. Is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
No,
Go ahead.
we haven't spent it. I mean, if we're going to spend it, I think last year we said it's $100. It's not going to make a difference in anyone's tax bills, but, the thought was, well, it'll provide for the control total and we could reclass. If we're not spending it, don't
Eliminate
budget
the line?
it.
I would start to eliminate. It's got 1 year in. You can eliminate it. You're in year 4.
I mean, if Peter was going to subscribe to something, tell us, otherwise, eliminate it, make it zero.
Well, this is
Office
office
supplies.
supplies, Mike. This isn't, it's a weird
210.
page. It's
Yeah, kind of.
it's 210.
It's on two different things.
So it's, we spent $30 out of $150, Mike, so it's.
Then it's fine.
Okay.
But why don't, not that the 30, the 100, or 500 matters, we talked about these office supplies, and my
Centralized.
feeling is, just have one office supply account for this building. It's controlled, it's locked up, and from Judy's room or somebody's room, and that's it, we're done. Because these little piddly things are just, so when you say, how much do we spend on office supplies to run this place? You gotta go to 10 different accounts.
Correct.
I mean,
We
it's-
brought that up last year, and
Yeah,
for some
we brought it
reason,
up
we were
every-
told we couldn't,
Is it
right?
there for control that you have let's say you have $10,000. Now someone in the department says, gee, I got $10,000 to spend, and they spend all that money, and then another department, they need something essentially, and then there's nothing for them. I mean, is that why it's set up that way, Mr. Tovo? I mean,
Listen, this is budgeting from 1925.
Yeah.
Where every department got their budget,
Sure.
you have their own. I agree, let's put it all under one and, but out of fairness, can we do that in 20? So take this year, evaluate all the different numbers and
Right.
next year
And
do
eliminate
one
them for
line
20.
item for all of them.
I'd like to
should work
have
toward
one simple purpose,
consolidate.
because
Yeah.
I've found out in the past that, I'm not saying in this town, but in many towns, I'm ordering Pendaflex, and Sue's ordering Pendaflex,
Right.
and then at the end of the year, we have, 300 Pendaflex orders. And over time, and even now when we cleaned out some of the supply cabinets here, rubber bands that are falling apart.
Yeah.
Things don't
Yeah.
last forever.
Listen, we had somebody who
You
tried
get a
soaking
lot of
rubber bands last year.
toners, and then the printer is no good, and then that
Yeah.
toner doesn't apply to the new printer, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I would suggest that if a
Well,
department.
let's centralize it. Let's
Right.
centralize
If
it.
a department
Yeah,
needs a
yes.
particular item, then they have to request that, and we'll look at it.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day,
Mr. Tovo,
we're more
Somebody
efficient,
may need
more
a new printer. I know, like the
transparent,
printer in finance,
Fine.
that's
I'm
been
all
here
for it.
about maybe 20 years.
We're eliminating $100 line
Let's just
items.
say procedural wise, everybody, 5 different departments, and everybody wants to order Pendaflex. So we get away from that. What's the new procedure? Anybody who wants to order Pendaflex fills out a form and goes to,
Well, they
it
would-
goes to the purchasing person?
Well, they would make the request, most likely they would give it to Bernadette to put together, and then it would come to Judy, myself, and the mayor for sign-off, so.
So everything would run
to
through
check
Bernadette's office?
For office supplies,
Yeah,
That's-
all offices.
Kind of the keeper of that.
Right.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay.
And she's also coordinating that with Dina, so.
Mhm.
Let's
Right.
not mention
So-
names.
Oh, I'm sorry. Accounts payable. But what I would do is, if there is a request, say, for Pendaflex, and we have a central location where we keep the supplies.
Somebody else will
If I-
have a cabinet full of them.
Right, if I go in there and say, okay, I have 2,000, then this person's gonna use what we have in one hand, and I'm gonna get those Pendaflex.
I agree.
All right, I think we asked for this last year, and we, between the turnover, it didn't work.
Is this $30?
Yeah.
Help us
And
with
it's
all
not the
this.
$30, but would this represent a purchase order, an individual purchase order, and possibly an individual check?
It
For
could,
$30?
it would be in your
Yes.
detail.
Yeah, could have.
So by centralizing, we're also going to reduce the total work.
I'm glad you brought that up, because one thing I'm seeing is, when you fill out the requisition, we're going to see requisitions for $7, $12, whatever. I like that only because I can track what everybody's buying, it doesn't get jumbled in that. But when it goes to a PO, it's got to be on one PO. Cost on average about $5 to produce a PO. I don't want to see one going out the door for less than $5. It doesn't make sense. So-
Okay.
I actually say to that, because.
It's like refunds for less than a stamp.
Right. Really?
I've been working with accounts payable, and we've been doing such that, as a matter of fact, we had to put in an order for Staples, then we went around and we said, okay, does anyone need anything, and that's exactly what we did.
I'm
We had each line
Happy to see the
item.
POs. I've been seeing consolidated
Everyone's open,
more.
consolidated, one check, one order.
Okay.
Perfect.
Mayor's subscription and books, 901-201-10-240, 100 requested, 100 budgeted.
Just replay my comments.
Yeah, and I think the only thing on that one, Sue, I requested the hard copy. Are they going to start to charge us for that? So I don't know if that's where that would go for the League magazine. Just
If I had accessed your account, that's where it went.
Okay.
If not, it went in mine because I needed to do it. Yeah.
I will say in this category here, I think that we're underutilizing what's available to us. I mean, the league has a lot of publications, we bought a few of them already for, things as simple as recreation fees. What's everybody charging? Well, I don't know, dial 20 people to get the answer when you have a survey out there that can tell me that. So those things, we need to spend a little bit
Okay.
of money on that to make ourselves more efficient and more knowledgeable.
Again, if there's a need and we can justify it, let's spend it. But, okay, so,
Mayor dues meetings and conferences, 901-201-10-250, 1850 requested, 1850 budgeted. We okay with that, gentlemen?
Fine.
Mayor training, 901-201-10-370, 500 requested, 0 budgeted, so,
I would say that 500 must be an error. It should be 0, right? But, yeah.
so that's a 0.
Yes.
Mayor printing is,
I did that, I'm sorry.
Mayor
No problem.
printing is 0, we'll move on. Mayor miscellaneous, 901-201-10-500, 300 requested, 300 budgeted. Is everybody okay with that?
I'm okay.
Okay. Mayor trophies, 901-201-10, 790, 250 requested, 250 budgeted. Is everybody okay with that? But we never spend any money in
Well,
that.
I
What
would
is-
like to start that this year in recognizing more people,
Okay.
and it's also in the council budget, so anything we do, we go 50/50 on, but
Okay.
yeah, I would like to do more recognitions this
Put
year.
it in one budget. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
Mhm.
So should we eliminate it from one of them? Put it
It's
in
probably
the-
easier to eliminate it from council and keep it in the mayor, because,
Yes.
so, all
Whichever.
right, so when we get to that line item for council trophies, we'll move that up
Will that
to,
also cover
We had
plaques?
250, so we'll make the mayor's.
yeah, 500? Yeah, so we'll make the mayor's 500?
No, 750.
Oh, 750.
No, wait a minute, sorry, what did you ask for?
250.
Yeah, 500. Yeah, 500.
All right, so we're going to make 901-201-10, 790, $500. Township,
Just
Who's
back-
asking for the increase, the council or the mayor?
well, Mike had asked if it to be removed from the
We're gonna
council and
reclass it.
I mean, it's a net
reclassify.
zero when you take it out of the other, so, I mean, for what it matters, I'll recommend
Well,
it.
you want to recommend recognizing people, I agree. I talked about this, we should bring more people
Right.
in and just use ours and have it in one thing.
So we're going to 5.
Yes, we're going to eliminate the council line item when we get to it.
Just, Peter, because I just looked at the actuals and they're on the miscellaneous.
Okay.
Is 300 enough? Only because you've done some, I guess, funeral arrangements and things like that from the township, so I just,
I mean, again, it varies. I hate
I'm not
to say.
wishing.
Yeah, right, that's what I mean, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would say it's enough, hopefully.
Okay, moving on. Township Council, salary and wages, 901, excuse me,
Gesundheit.
901-201-111-100. We're going to match the 2018 appropriations of 28,289.
I would like to bring that for each council member up to 4,999, just under the 5,000.
So mine is already. Or mine's, I don't know what mine is actually at these days, but it's less than the 5,000. Last year, when they provided the, what was it called? The salary action form, the personal action form,
Yeah, personal
whatever?
action.
It was reduced, so it's under the
Okay.
pensionable now.
Okay.
So whatever you,
Yours
That
was
number-
reduced?
I voluntarily did it to, yeah.
Thanks.
Listen, we should, the last thing I need is a pension from
I did too.
the state.
I just have one question, and this actually, Art, you had mentioned that, I guess, there's a check in here for you. You don't take pay, or you do take pay?
I didn't take the first
There's an
half.
amount of 1559 that was cut to you. I'm just curious what it is. For Councilman Cumming, it says, 1,559.
That was the stipend.
Probably it's 1/4 of his pay, because he didn't
That's
get paid
1/4,
for half of the year, I think.
No, that's
The
all right.
first half of the year, I didn't take
Take it because
anything
it
at all.
would mess up
It
his
was
pension.
just odd, I didn't know what it was.
I got a pay for the third quarter and the fourth quarter.
Okay.
Okay, stipend,
Stipend.
expense money.
So you don't get a pay, you get a stipend?
No, he gets
No, no,
paid
he
now.
gets
He had to do something because of his retirement, for his pension. He
Last
couldn't
year.
take,
This year it'll be.
This year it's
like
this year he'll get
everyone
4 quarterly payments. It's
So I
like-
don't, as it were,
Okay.
donated it back,
No.
Yeah.
So
Didn't
you
take any-
calculate the number for
anything.
5 councilmen for 4,999.
If you do that, I would like to see is, like Judy said, put a little extra money then in OE in case you guys have expenses that you want to charge against the different line items.
Well, it's 5 of us at 5,000,
Right,
it's
pretty easy.
25,000, so it's 29,950.
Take the 4 off.
Yes.
I'm fine with that, and
Okay,
I don't
give me the number.
think it needs to be
Okay.
in OE, quite honestly.
Yeah.
You don't want to add any extra.
No, I don't think that's necessary.
Well, the only thing I'd like to say is, like you said, we're not wishing it on anyone, but if I run out of money for that and you guys have it,
Well, I'm not, I'd like to see it stay the same, and I don't know what everybody else, I know you and Dr. Cassio would like to see it lowered. Mr. Bruno?
I don't care.
You don't care. Mr.
I
Cummings,
don't
would
think
you
you
like
can
to see
vote, I
it
don't
lowered?
care.
Can it be different for each member, or no? I don't know about that, Bob.
Can be.
Well, it can be, because Mike already
Oh,
lowers
okay, you
his,
already
yeah.
have it, okay.
So if you'd like to lower yours,
I didn't know, yes, I'm gonna lower mine.
So if we could leave it at 18 numbers for 28,289, and if the council chooses to lower it on their own, they can lower it on their own.
Okay.
All right. Council office supplies, 100 requested, 100 budgeted for 90120, 111, 210. Everybody okay with that?
Can we put that in the mayor's? Let him control the office supplies or somewhere?
What office supplies do we have?
I don't know, just get
It's,
this out of here.
it's cards, so.
Oh, it's cards.
If anything,
Okay.
it needs to be more.
Yeah, 'cause
Because there's at least 3 seats
Up for,
up
We have
for.
anything on print, nothing, all we have is nothing on printing recommended.
I'm told that the cards are only $35 for my box of cards.
I don't know who told you that.
A
Wait,
fairly
hold on.
credible
They're
person.
$30
Uh,
for a box of 500.
But like Mike is saying, you have 3 people.
so that's $90.
Right.
So it's $90.
I thought there was a larger number for each of us.
Well, there's money
If
in
you go-
miscellaneous.
No, I must be.
No, Mike's looking at the actual expense.
I just saw it too.
What was the $30?
Go to page
Those are
13,
business
Michael.
cards,
It's
Mr.
there.
Bruno.
I see it.
I shopped around for that, and I get a lot of stuff from the Department of Corrections. They've got some great prices.
Department of Corrections.
That's
Yeah,
the
that's
course.
where your cards come from.
That's where they come from.
I had to get more, and they were
Like license
beautiful.
plates, huh?
Yeah, they'll do
Wow,
printing for
They
cheap.
were
Really? They do
license
print?
plates to business cards.
There you go.
They do it for cheap.
That's a good idea.
They got a lot of time on their hands.
Yeah.
Do you want to see that increase,
Unfortunately-
Mr. Ullman?
No,
Are we okay with it?
The
Gentlemen,
only
we okay
problem
with
is
it?
they know where you live now.
Yeah,
And they got your phone number.
that, now I can blame those phone numbers,
Under-
phone calls on,
And you're getting-
on that,
Under-
Get some prank calls, you know what's going on.
from the jails. Yeah.
Under council postage, 90120111220, can we eliminate that line, gentlemen?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're going to eliminate that line. Council subscription and books, 90120111240, 100 requested, 100 budgeted. Is that okay, gentlemen? Council dues, meetings, and conferences, 90120111250, 2,200 requested, 2,200 budgeted. We okay with that?
Are the same individuals planning, because I'm assuming that's primarily,
The league.
League of Municipalities.
is the people who went planning on going again?
I continue to go every year.
I will be attending.
I need to learn a lot.
So does it need
So
to
that's a
be
yes?
more?
That's a yes.
Did you go this year?
Yeah.
Yes, I did, but
Oh.
for only one night.
No, so,
And I got caught in that
Well-
blizzard on the way back.
Yeah, you got quite,
so then that should be good.
okay.
I
Council,
do have a question with that. Is that covering hotel, registration, and everything else?
I believe that's the intent.
Yes.
It says
Yeah,
we
Judy, I
broke out
believe
of
it
the
did.
Valley's Park Place and the New Jersey State League of
Membership,
Municipalities.
registration,
That was
hotel,
registration.
yes.
3, 4?
Well, there's only 3 going.
only
Only
three.
3 going?
yes.
Oh, okay, only 3 going,
I have a gambling problem, so I don't go.
okay. Because the hotels,
that's
the
what you're not
hotel's
interested
usually
in.
about 500,
You
right?
should say
I could
that's
care less.
But it's,
You're on camera.
it's 130, we paid $132 and $165.
Okay.
It
We okay
covers
with
it.
that number, gentlemen?
Yes.
All right.
Covers it.
Council professional services, 5,000 requested, 5,000 budgeted. We all right with that for 260?
What's it for?
Here's,
Let's see what we
What did we spend? The 5,000 was for Canning Group last year, right? Because that's where it came out of, so do we need the 5,000?
I think
Well,
we
I
should
think-
have something.
Isn't this for like
I
a
think-
special attorney if we need
Well,
one?
I
If
think
Mr.
last time
Mr.
when-
Paulo lets us hire one?
well, here's the thing.
Right.
From what
Well,
we
that's his
understand, when we put it in there, that was the intent.
Was for
And then
special
we-
attorney.
We were told that we couldn't from the attorney. So if we can't use it, why do we have it?
You couldn't charge any legal fees there, you're saying?
No, we wanted 7,000 for a,
Council.
the council.
Council to
but
the-
specifically
Labor attorney.
council-
Labor attorney.
The labor attorney, and it came to light that because the way we're organized, the Department of Law has to approve that, and it came out of his budget, I
Correct,
believe.
right.
So we had 7,000 for that. For a legal attorney, we banged 5K against it for caning. Are we going to do that again this year, or do we anticipate other professional services?
Why don't we make it, you okay with making it 0, gentlemen?
I'm okay with making it 0.
Or do we want to make it 1,000 just to keep it there as a placeholder in case we do need to do something?
It doesn't come out of our thing anyway.
I would leave it 5,000, and then if we have to reclass it, because, you know, this conversation I had extensively with
Yeah.
our former administrator,
Which one?
last year.
No names.
And it was moved into law, but I was told it can't be touched because it was specifically for our needs, and I don't think that happened. So I think as a placeholder, we should have it here and then do,
Transfer if
yeah,
needed.
right.
Okay, well, is everybody okay with leaving it?
So you want to leave it at 5,000?
Because once it goes in the law department, not that it's being used technically, but it, you know,
It
it can.
disappears.
It's out of our discretion
Yeah.
also.
Well, I know we're talking about, particularly attorney fees, but this is professional services.
Yeah, so that's
Could be
what
any
I'm,
professional
that's what I'm
service.
confused,
Yeah, right.
yeah.
So I would
because-
leave it there,
Yeah, I
because you
agree.
don't know
Gives you a
what.
wide latitude.
Yeah.
So it could be like Mr. Beinfeld or somebody like that, or, you know, Lume,
Anything
or engineering,
professional
right?
services,
Yeah.
it's a yearly contract, that's,
And it's under our discretion.
yeah.
All right, is everybody
If we
okay with
put it
leaving
under
it?
the Department of Law.
No, we don't want to do
We
that.
lose control, with no disrespect.
Right.
No,
Oh,
not,
Well, I wouldn't put it there.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
everybody okay with that?
Leaving it at 5?
Yep.
I'm just going to say, I'm going to say no.
And I'm going
You're
to say
no?
no.
Not zero it out and don't add it anywhere else. Just
Well, the problem we have with zeroing it out too is getting it back then is going to be an issue with the cap.
$1,000. Placeholder, $1,000. Yeah, and use it.
It's 5K. Are you good for 5K?
I'm okay with 5K.
You
Yeah,
good for 5K?
yeah.
You're good for
I
5K?
already-
All right, it stays,
Yeah.
okay.
I already
But
said
let me
that.
just say, make it quick, look, it hasn't been spent before. You spent in 2014, 6. You spent 0 in 15, you spent 0 in 16, you spent 0 in 17. So why we busting the taxpayer for 5,000, taking the money from them, when we're not using it?
Because the council might want to use certain services.
We do have things coming up this year with Viviano
think
probably
anybody's
and
ever
other
looked at
people,
it
so we may need it.
Viviana? Well, why, what would you have with Viviana?
Well, you
I can't answer that now, but we may
What would you,
need it.
what would you,
Let's
what would
stay
you
away from
have
that.
with
I-
anything?
Well, I
Because
think-
we don't do it.
If we need to hire a professional, I mean, if we need to bring in an engineer or
To the
a,
people's points who
You
want to
have-
leave it at
you have-
5.
You have an engineer,
But we voted 5, so
Right?
we're good.
you have an attorney. Who else you gonna use?
well, our engineer is on
Finance.
on an as-needed basis. He's not an employee, so if we need to use him to do something, we need to pay him.
What about a town study? What about a sewer study? What about, you know, an infrastructure study? What about?
Well, you ain't getting that done for 5,000.
Other
No, but I'm
departments.
just saying,
You have it
you know,
in
there's
you have
things
it in
we
other
need.
departments.
So we voted 3 for 5, so
Yep.
we're in.
All right. Council travel expenses, can we eliminate this line, gentlemen?
Not yet. I don't think you can eliminate it until it
Until
runs
the
off.
5 years have
Another two-
zeros.
another-
Oh, it's got
years.
another 2
Yeah,
years,
another
okay.
2 years.
So it's 0, we're gonna leave 280 at 0. Furniture and equipment, 901, 20, 111, 300, 6,000 budgeted, 6,000 requested. What furniture do we need?
The reason I put this here,
Chairs.
We got chairs.
we are,
I'm kidding.
it was budgeted here last year for chairs for the dais. We need to buy chairs for administration, they're 20 years old, and I didn't want to hide it in every department, like a chair for admin, a chair for, so I wanted to keep it here so next year it just goes away. And the flags up top.
We're not getting any chairs as part of that furniture acquisition.
Yeah, it's one thing they.
Right, they're keeping
Keep
all
all
their
the
chairs, yes.
So what is it for?
It's for one more round of chairs, for the most part, for the different departments, because what
The
we
office
bought
staff.
here,
So why don't you put it in admin then?
Because I didn't want to
well,
hide it. in
since it's
different-
just a one more year thing.
To put a chair in my budget and a chair in Judy's
No,
budget.
just one admin, one office supplies and admin, or furniture. Don't we have a furniture and admin?
No, I could move it, but I thought here we could just
Okay, so
do
you
what we
want
did
to,
last year.
6,000 for 2
And then
years.
it goes away.
Right.
so you want to track it?
Is everybody okay with that, gentlemen?
Yeah, so how many, I mean, we know how many chairs we need and all that good
How many?
stuff?
What did we come up with?
How many did we
A
get for
dozen,
last year, right?
14, something
Up
like
there,
that?
Yeah.
Office staff chairs we're talking.
Yes.
But then also, Mayor, didn't you also talk about we needed one more chair up here for planning board or zoning board or somebody?
Yeah, potentially for planning board, yes.
What's that?
We're short, if we had a full attendance of planning board, we're short one chair per se.
So it's 500 a chair?
In round numbers, yes.
Everybody okay with
I mean,
that,
they're very
gentlemen?
nice chairs, as we can see from,
Wow.
And this says flags too, so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I have
we're
a quote
getting-
on brand new flags and holders and
Okay.
for all 3 of them.
Everybody okay? Council consulting and non-legal is 0. We'll leave it at 0. Council printing is 0. We'll leave it at 0. Council miscellaneous, 300 requested, 300 budgeted, 901, 20, 111, 500. Any,
What was the overrun on last year with the 750?
I must have gone shopping.
Miscellaneous is, it's wiring for, I
Yeah.
guess, this chamber.
Okay.
Council chamber sound check for 700, and then some wiring from G&G.
That's when we had the microphone
Microphone
static
checks,
issues,
right.
right? We had the static issues last year.
And then the
Correct.
TV is probably also with,
Yeah, let's leave it.
Just,
That should really be a building maintenance issue.
It should be building maintenance, yes.
Yeah.
well, I thought that they put it, weren't we running things through this particular location for the council so it could be tracked for a shared service if we ever did something with the courts? I thought that, again, I thought that was one of the rationales, is that we wanted it to remain in the council because that was part of maintaining this, the courtroom.
So if we ever the court, there's still being expense for the council's use of the equipment.
Yes, and if we wanted to understand what the cost was of the cost of the courts, we had that transparency.
I'm not disagreeing, but at this dollar value, I don't think we need to track it at
No.
that level.
But my
But
one question...
Next year, I would look to anything we do here, like Bob's saying, put it under building maintenance, not council.
WCTV, if they had any demand for the taping of our meetings or potentially other meetings, have they been captured somewhere else?
I have.
Okay.
There's a big number.
Yeah, there's a line item there.
There's, in capital, there's a substantial
Yep.
number there for.
All right, let's move on and we'll get to that line item. Trophies and plaques, 901-20-111-790 is made zero because we moved it into the mayor's line item, gentlemen, so we're gonna make that zero. Yep, zero. Department, Office of Township Clerk, 901-20-120-110. We have 77,250 requested, 80,000 budgeted.
So this is a Rice.
Yes, this is a Rice, so we'll flag that one, gentlemen. Okay, Assistant to Clerk,
same thing.
same thing on that. Assistant to Clerk overtime is zero requested.
Well, I'm sorry, you're going to rice the people that are just getting the standard increase? I'm just asking out of curiosity.
I think the play it safer is ready to race everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, let's rice everybody as well.
Am I allowed to ask about the overtime, the assistant to the clerk, or I'm not?
You can.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Okay, no, I don't know. We're not saying, only because when I did my review last year, there was not enough money in these items,
Correct.
and there was some overtime. So I do think there should be some overtime in that item.
Yeah, so,
Well,
I
can I
believe that will-
reiterate,
What's that?
can I reiterate on that one?
Yeah, please.
Our budget talks last year, there was a talk of an increase for the assistant, and one of the things that was discussed was that if the increase was agreed to, the overtime would go away.
Okay.
And the overtime has gone
I just know
away.
that I
So the
did see-
overtime incur was
Yeah.
most likely
Well, there was
prior to that.
Prior to that, yes, prior to
There's so
that.
much an increase in salaries, an increase in hours, I think.
Yes, there's an
Yes.
increase
So
in
it-
hours
so
and
she
salary.
She is
Overtime.
hourly, would she then be getting, like, no, say if she was getting an hourly rate, and say she was 5 hours a day, if she had to stay 6 hours, would her increase in salary compensate for that, and then she wouldn't have an overtime?
Correct.
She's a
Does not
salary
go there.
employee.
And so she's going to
I mean,
become a
that-
salaried employee then, so that's what it's going to amount
is.
to, or, I mean, I'm just asking because,
I think I think you can answer that.
That's a right,
question.
that's a right
Well,
situation.
not at that rate either.
okay, I'm just saying, because the thing is,
Yeah.
this, this could present a problem, because if you don't
No,
really.
but a salaried employee is made up of certain rules and regulations and
Yes.
hours.
Right.
So if that's not here, that's not a salaried employee.
Right.
Not this person, but any person. And I don't know what the state municipal is, you know.
Well, from my point of
I don't know if it's 30
view-
hours. Well, how many hours
She-
is a salaried person full-time? Is it 30?
Well, it's, if you're at 29 hours, I believe you have to get benefits.
No.
Right, I think it's
She's at
29, 30
29.
hours,
She's 30.
right?
aren't there are multiple issues here
Yeah.
that are complex, and I think
Rice.
we are, not Rice, it's not for the person who's doing it. The town is exposing themselves if we're not, so there's full-time and part-time, there's exempt and non-exempt, and, you know, I think we need to be careful. If people are doing work and are not being paid for it, and they're non-exempt, there's an issue. So
That is correct.
FLSA, right?
I think, and we should.
So who do we get to make that determination? I think it's probably outside the scope of most of us to say what can and can't be done.
It's probably law. Jersey must
Yeah.
have some statute or
does.
some nonsense that says,
No,
you know,
so we-
this qualifies the
Ken look it
person.
up maybe and.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that'll be an easy search. We can put it through. I didn't know there was an issue with it. I thought it was-
Also in
Understood.
terms of
We'll
status
take care of it.
Because the
versus part-time
discussion
and full-time
led us
as far
there,
as
but- Right.
benefits and, you know, pension and so on and
So,
so forth.
so for 110 and 120, we'll need more information, so we'll flag those two,
and 130.
and 130. All right, so 110, 120, 130 is flagged. 140 is 0, will remain 0 for deputy clerk. Township clerk, other expense, office supplies, $1,200 budgeted, $1,200 requested. Is everybody okay with that for 210?
Oh, I do have one question about deputy clerk, because because I said, we used to be here. If Susan was out, and then, I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to say Susan. If the clerk was out, and her assistant had to be deputy clerk, does that person get paid for being deputy clerk for that day? Because that used to have
That was
there.
removed, the $10 a day was removed from the salary
okay.
ordinance.
Okay, just so I know.
Yeah.
Okay, just
$10 a day,
wanted
really?
to, I
Yeah,
just
that's-
wanted to make sure, because I know that was a part of it. I know, okay.
Township clerk postage, we can eliminate this line because it's been more than 5 years now, right? So we can eliminate this line. Everybody's okay? Township clerk, subscriptions and books, 901, 201, 120, 240, 25 was requested, 100 was budgeted. Is that a,
I'll give the same answer I gave before. I think there's more publications out there that we should be
Okay.
taking advantage of, so
everybody okay with the $100, gentlemen?
Yes.
All right, Township clerk, dues, meetings, and conferences, 901, 201, 120, 250, 2,000 requested, 2,000 budgeted. Is everybody okay with that?
Just, do we anticipate that the clerk's office will be doing more conferences? Or will multiple individuals within the clerk's office be doing?
What happened here, and the reason why you're seeing it lower from last year, is I chose not to go to the spring conference last year due to personal reasons.
Okay.
This year, I probably will go spring and fall, and training is in another line.
Okay.
So everybody okay with the 2,000?
Yes.
Township clerk?
Can I just ask one question?
Yes,
Yeah, I
Bob.
don't care about 2,000, but petty cash, where's that controlled?
That's it.
for the administrative assistant.
Well, the administrator, then I have a small little petty cash also for Board of Health and for.
So should that be one
clerk.
box?
I think we have to have separate accounts for petty cash
Yeah.
for, we have what, police, admin, and clerk, right?
And clerk, I believe, yes.
Okay.
Township clerk, office equipment repair, 901, 201, 120, 270, 1,300 budgeted, 1,300 requested. We've spent 0 on this line item for 3 years now, so what do we need this for? Why we?
Because we have
She
maintenance.
keeps breaking stuff.
What's that?
Because since we got the new system, we've gone with the maintenance, so we don't have that $700 charge for them to come in and do a wiring on the microphones. And the past administration never wanted to do that. So this is maintenance.
Did we ever get the software for the Word when you?
Yes.
Okay,
And I love it.
good.
So OBS software and recording equipment, the notes, that is, we're putting a service contract on that, so there is not a service call.
Right, so when I had a problem the other night, the gentleman came in yesterday, fixed it, there's no bill that's associated with it. And that was due for an update that created a patch that needed to be installed.
Oh, okay, so the other night was a
So,
patch issue.
Yeah, it was,
And we have collectively had these conversations that as
Weird.
some of our equipment starts to age out, it really makes sense to get the service agreement so we're not getting a big surprise bill. While it's
Definitely.
new, we'll take our chances.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Township clerk mileage stipend, 901, 201, 120, 280, 600 requested, 600 budgeted. Are we okay with that, gentlemen?
I just have one question. I meant to ask it up above. I ask it every year, eliminating it and either rolling it into their salary or having them reimbursed at the IRS rate. Judy?
I have two comments about that. The IRS rate would cost us more, because the people would probably put in for more mileage. Normally, you don't see the mileage stipend as a part of your salary. I know we talked about increasing pension, it's not a big deal, but when you're hired, whatever position you're hired for, you're bringing a set of skills to that position. Mileage is considered like a fringe benefit. That's what I was always told. Mr. Tobin and I had that conversation. The other thing I'm also concerned about, because people watch they watch the meetings and they read the minutes, and one person, I can't say the person's name, whatever, said that it would concern her that people would get mileage in their salary, and that wouldn't apply in her situation.
Well, let's be
I don't know
clear.
if that opens another
If we're
can of worms or
doing-
not, I don't know, but
It just can't be done. You can't put a stipend into your salary.
Salary, I mean, it's normally
because the
not done
pension
that
will-
way,
I mean,
but-
not saying the pension would catch a small dollar amount, but the law is the law. You can't put a stipend is not pensionable. So that option's off the table. Now, if you want people to do it by the government standard and submit for their mileage, we
You
can
could
consider
do
that, but I
that.
think
It
it
would
would
be
cost us
more.
more money
It
at
would
the end of the
I
day.
agree with that.
It's cheaper for us to do, for the taxpayers, to
to
do
do
it
it by
this way.
stipend that way.
So how many people receive this? The administrator, the
Clerk.
Clerk.
The assessor.
There's like, trying to pick, there's like 4 or 5 of us.
I think 4 or 5, yeah.
Yeah, I'll look,
This was part of the
And-
agreement,
and-
I believe, the hiring process.
and everyone else
It is.
is on IRS rates?
No, everybody else
No one
doesn't
else
get
puts in
it.
for
doesn't get it.
mileage,
There's mileages and actuals.
was it?
Oh, that's true, I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'll give you an example there.
Oh, yeah,
Murphy.
I think I
DNF
know the one
workers
you're
are
talking
going-
about, yeah.
Using their own vehicle to go to a class.
Correct.
They do submit for mileage. And if you've seen those bills, they're not cheap.
But also, we are trying to address that where they use more town vehicles, so we're not paying them mileage.
We need to
We're looking at
repurpose
that
some
in
of our
this year.
vehicles so we
Right.
can do that.
Yes.
And not pay the mileage.
Right.
Was it 50-something cents? On the-
Sounds
57.
correct, or so,
51
yeah.
or plus.
I thought it was 4, Mike said 57.
I think it's
Somewhere in the
57,
50s,
right?
yeah.
57.
now.
Is it 57?
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank
so,
you.
yeah, we have
Oh.
been looking at that and freeing up a vehicle to,
Okay. All
But
right.
normally I would think though,
Excuse me.
if someone does
Your
travel.
mileage,
that
it goes
needs
to
be
the business
reimbursable.
administrator, the clerk, the building, plumbing inspector, electrical subcode official, fire subcode official, and tax assessor. So you have 6 different recipients.
Okay.
But if they do get the stipend, I don't know if they should also put in for mileage.
They should
Yeah,
not.
they
I
should
would
not,
hope
right.
not.
Hold on.
Right, I'm saying, but I've seen that, so.
Well, then,
well, we won't see it here.
Okay, but I have seen that, just so,
here or,
I've seen it here,
exactly.
yes. So it's gotta be.
We are
one or the
now
other.
aware of-
Right, it's gotta be
Okay.
one or
It
the
is just
other.
where it happened, and will
Right.
not happen again.
You
Okay.
can't double dip.
No.
Right, it's gotta be one or the other.
One or the other.
All right, Township Clerk, furniture and equipment, 1,700 requested, 1,700 budgeted for 901-201-2300. It's for a rack for recording equipment, so we okay with that, gentlemen?
Is it down here? This,
Over
the one in
there,
the
so they're
corner
not
there.
sideways.
Yeah, if you look in
And
there,
it'll be-
it's,
We're gonna
It'll
get
be
rid of
locked,
that.
it will be,
kitchen
yes, it'll be
cabinet.
locked, it'll
The
be
kitchen cabinet will be
secure.
gone.
Yes.
equipment rack.
The
The
proper
kitchen
way.
cabinet will be gone. No, we can put it in the dumpster. No, right in the garbage truck. We okay with that, gentlemen?
Okay, sure.
Township Clerk, advertisements, public notice, 901-201-2310, 4,000 requested, 4,000 budgeted. Are we okay? Township Clerk Training, 901-201-2370, 1,500 budgeted, 1,500 requested. We okay with that?
is this
In
the,
light of your comment before, we'll get a list.
is this the, does this include, though, the continued education on the certification?
No, that falls under, mine falls under the conference, because when I go to the conference, that's where I get mine and my meetings.
The assistant.
This is, yeah, this
Okay.
is, and this, I just had a conversation the other day, this, if you'd like to, we can cut this probably down to about $800, because she's only gonna do the 1 class this year, in the fall. But, that's up to you, if you wanna leave it there.
Is that a budget, or is that a budget concern? That-
No, just if you wanna save a couple dollars, you can, but if not,
That
Not for me.
the individual is not,
no, it's
Okay.
just timing.
Okay.
And she also is going to apply for the scholarship again, so that will help offset that cost.
Yeah, so last year we spent $863 and we received $500 for a scholarship.
Yeah, reimbursed.
Yep, We have the application already from a meeting we went to on Thursday, so that will be submitted.
We okay with leaving it, gentlemen? Or do we want to cut it?
As long as we use it.
Well, it sounds like we're only going to use
Yeah.
800.
That's what
You want to make it 1,000? You want to make it 1,000? All right.
If I may, do you want to leave it 1,200 if it's going to go back up next year, so we're not lowering it too much and then raising it too much?
The
We don't know what's gonna happen next year, so.
courses are outrageous.
Well,
I
if she
hate
does
that.
take the 2 classes next year,
Yeah.
it would go back up from the 12 to the 15 next year. I'd hate to see us go from 8 to 15,
Yeah, but
or
it's
1,000 to
it's the
15.
bottom
But
line.
just a comment.
This way we keep
Make
track
it,
of it.
make it 1,000.
1,000, gentlemen? Okay, let's make 370 1,000. Township clerk, code publication, 901-201-2460, 5,300 requested, 5,300 budgeted. It's for supplements and E-code. Are we okay with that?
No.
Is that
No.
going down?
That should,
Because we spent a lot.
My only question, I'm not saying I'm not okay with it, I just want to understand it, because last year, we did a lot of e-coding, and I thought that we, basically, it was past us, and if that's not the case, just want to understand, because it seems like we're...
This is an ongoing situation. First, you have it's $11.95 a year for maintenance for our ordinances, everything to be online. They maintain that site, and they bring everything in, and so that's one set fee, and it's always in the fall. So I kind of like have to budget for November payment for the following year.
Sure.
The other cost is all the ordinances that you pass during the year is, when you look at the website, it's under new laws. In order for them to incorporate it into the town code and be part of one document, it's got to be brought in as a supplement. And that's what that fee comes from, the rest of it.
So my only comment to
And
that...
it's a guesstimate, depending on how many we do.
There was 4,000 that was part of the codification, which I'm assuming is now complete.
Yes.
The 1,200 for the annual maintenance, which is, we have to do.
Yes.
And the supplement last year was 2,000. So we have to pay 1,200. Last year was 2,000 based on the amount of things
Don't
we
forget,
changed.
when you did the recodification, a lot of the stuff was already pulled in. Well, I shouldn't say a lot. Some of the ordinances were pulled in when we adopted the recodification. So from midpoint of 2018 on, they now have to be put, even though it was recodified, every year you need to pull it in. And like I said, when I explained it back the last year in the budget, or when the recodification, I'd like to see that happen at least twice a year, so that it's not where you're sitting there going, okay, well, we have to go over here, we have to go over here. It's
Okay.
easier for everybody to look in
So
one document.
if it's 2 times a year, and that's the supplement that you're referring to? So that's
And if they're-
2,000, 4,000, 5,000, and what's the number?
5,300. All right? We okay with it, gentlemen?
that
Township,
We're
helps.
done with codification, right?
codification is done, but this is just for the supplements.
This is
and
just
the
keeping
yearly
us
pay.
current,
We're done.
and,
The 5-year project.
thank you.
Township clerk, printing, 901-201-2470, 600 requested, 600 budgeted. Is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Township clerk miscellaneous, 901-201-2500, 450 requested, 450 budgeted. Is everybody okay with that?
Are all the alcohol licenses in?
Yes, that was under printing. Those are cheap, they're only $24.
So I don't know what our view is. Last year, the miscellaneous, the majority of that was for meals for elections.
No.
And so we had one election, and it was $750. This year, we have 2 elections. We have a primary.
Well, there's primary every year, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a
Nothing
primary,
in general.
but-
Right.
but excuse
We
me,
didn't have any
that's-
local, but, right.
So
But that
that's only
miscellaneous-
one.
That miscellaneous isn't food.
11:30.
It's,
That's not food from last year.
This is your office miscellaneous, right?
oh, am I looking at the wrong line?
I'm on page 20, correct? $754?
Last year,
Why
yeah.
did I see, wasn't there a food line?
I'm asking to,
It may be somewhere else, but it's not in this one.
not what we paid out.
She's got Bergen County Clerk's Office, 75430.
Yeah, that's part of the expenses.
Yeah. You see this here? Page 20?
Page 20, Clerk's office.
Page 20.
If you look under miscellaneous, that line item, it's the primary election to the Bergen County Clerk's office. That was part of the cost of the election, but I was short last year, so we had to break that up.
Right.
Have you upped it this year in the
Yes, I
right
did,
category?
and I'm hoping
Yeah.
it all depends on how many mail-in ballots and the printing, the sample ballots, all that.
Right.
Oh, it was election miscellaneous, not
Right.
Sorry.
Township Clerk miscellaneous.
So that's where you move this, Sue?
I'm sorry, Bob?
The overs, you moved into elections miscellaneous now?
That's where Ashley and, I think Judy, you actually, I think it was you that actually helped me figure that one out, or Ashley, it would have been Ashley. Yeah.
Yeah, so it says primary election, June 5th, 2018, Bergen County
Yeah,
Clerk's
I was short
Office.
almost $2,000 last year, so.
So do we need this, or we just put it all in elections? The 450?
Well, I mean, the miscellaneous, the 450? You know, I don't know, I mean, no, because this is just the clerk miscellaneous, in case something comes up. I mean, if you want to cut that down to 250,
Why don't we just leave it as a placeholder?
I mean, yeah, I mean, if I don't use it,
You
I won't
okay with
use
that,
it.
Mike?
You make it 100.
Now that we know it's not food?
I was going to say increase it if it's food. No, seriously, I thought, I must
Couple
have
more subs?
That's okay.
We
crossed.
always get a discount from the.
You got meters, because I wanted to know where I did put it.
I mean, honestly, you know,
I mean, in prior years, it hasn't been spent, so that's
Make it
why.
$100, just in case. And then move anything else into the other elections miscellaneous. You have 1,000 if that's good.
I support
you
that.
leave it, yeah.
$100, gentlemen?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're gonna make 901, 201, 2,500, 100. Okay. Under elections, election salary and wages, 950 requested, 950 budgeted. Are we okay with that?
That's a given, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah, what is that? What
it's a
is it?
stipend.
It's like-
Primary stipend, $475, and then it was paid again towards the end of the year.
I believe it's
Page
supposed to be
20.
400, yeah, I believe it's supposed to be 400 and I think something, I don't know what the 475 was. Oh, the 75 was my assistant. That's what the 75 was, so 400, yeah. That should be the same.
So 950 is good.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody okay with that? Election office supplies, $50 requested, $50 budgeted for 901, 201, 21, 210. Is everybody okay with that?
I realize it's no money, but we've never had it budgeted.
Correct.
We've never spent it.
But yes, I do get its election supplies, though.
Okay,
So,
okay.
you know what, what if we do this? What if we eliminate this line and we leave the other one, or put $100 more in the miscellaneous?
Miscellaneous?
So if I, or,
Well, we can eliminate this line because it's been 5 years that it's
Yeah.
had zero in it, so.
I had a note to move it to 21, 2,500, whatever that is.
I think that's the one
That's
Bob just
election
talked about.
miscellaneous.
That's miscellaneous, yeah.
I mean, it's 50, I just,
Yeah.
We're back to the earlier argument. It's office supplies, let's get it straightened out, put it all in one category for
Yeah,
administration.
$50, I mean, get rid of it, put it
Yeah,
somewhere else.
all right, so we're gonna
I say zero it
eliminate,
out.
we're gonna eliminate 901, 201, 21, 210.
And then make the 100, 150?
Yeah, make the 100, 150.
Get your pen to flexes early, Sue.
There's a sale, on a fire sale.
Elections postage, 901, 20, 121, 220, 0 requested, 0 budgeted. Election ballots, 901, 20, 121, 230, 11,500 requested, 11,500 budgeted.
is this the cleanup of postage and ballots?
No, well, I tried with the previous administrator to break it out between ballots and postage because they come over as a bill, two different things, all right? I get a bill from the county and it breaks it down for me. And for some reason, it always ended up in one spot. So this will cover provisional ballots, emergency ballots, mail-in ballots, sample ballots, the official who comes out on election, primary day, sample ballot, postage, emergency tally sheets, and the mail shop service. Those are all the line items that are broken down that I get
Inside
billed for.
ballots, so that totals your
Everything's all in there for
11,500.
primary.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So we okay with 901, 20, 121, 230, gentlemen?
Unless we don't want to have a,
An election, right?
and this is charged from the county?
Yeah,
This is a push down from the county?
Bergen County Clerk. Yep.
Elections miscellaneous, 901-201-21-500, 1,000 budgeted, 1,000 requested.
There you go.
These are meals for poll workers, Mike.
I got your food.
There you go, there's the food.
I think if someone's going to sit on a chair for 12 hours,
12 hours.
Even more.
they should get a,
Least we can do is,
They get here at 5:30 in the morning and they have to leave.
Are we okay with that, gentlemen?
yes. My only request, and I don't know if it's just a policy that we should use where possible township vendors.
yes, of course.
Yeah, I think
And
we-
basically, this would be more for just
We
lunch.
always do that, so.
Always.
This is basically for just like a lunch, like we've been doing, or dinner, sandwiches from, next door or something, because most of them bring their own bagels and don't, and I can't be a catering service.
No, understood.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but, at least the one meal. And I know when I came on board, you were very supportive of this, and we never got to do it, so I thank you for the reconsideration. They'll be very happy.
All right, so we're going to leave that at 1,000. Moving on to finance treasurer. Treasurer, 0 requested, 0 budgeted for 901-201-30-110. Chief financial officer, 901-201-30-130, 110 requested, 110 budgeted. Are we okay with that, gentlemen?
Is that actual?
Yes.
I guess so. Just, is treasurer a function that's required in our
Statute.
table of organizations? And Judy is acting as the treasurer, or do we not have a treasurer?
The deputy treasurer is Joy.
No names.
Sorry.
Well, we could say who they
I was
are.
told-
Yeah, I can't discuss their job.
Oh, okay.
I was told
I've been
by,
hearing it both ways.
I was told by our insurance person, so I don't know if I can say the name or not, that
He's not an employee.
he's not an employee, okay, by Mr. Fedini then, that for purposes of JIF, that I probably should be both, and I do sign checks, that's a treasurer function, and I reconcile the main account here, which is the current account, and that's a treasurer function, so, I mean, I don't care
So
about any
should we
money
put
for it, but-
$100 in that line item of treasurer and?
I don't know if that's necessary, and I don't know, but.
Sue, you
I
have-
was told
I
should have
snickered
the
when we
title.
got to this part of the budget
Yeah.
because it's just all over the place with all different positions and part-time this and things that, we're not really doing now, but for historical reasons, I left it here, but I just, the whole thing needs to be cleaned up and,
Yeah.
you
So
know.
years
put
ago,
the-
I know that, I think they did divide, like the
They
CFO
did.
function, the treasurer, I think they did divide those line items years ago, but it's not
So are you
necessary now.
listed somewhere, and do we have
You have
articles of
some?
incorporation that says treasurer, secretary,
That's
CFO?
that's what I was going to say.
Mr. Bruno, hold on, Sue has some.
That's what I was going to
information.
say. I believe her resolution was, because Ken and I specifically went through this, and under this form of government, the CFO is the treasurer.
Okay.
So that it doesn't need a separate line item necessarily.
But we can't eliminate it yet, right? So we got to keep it
Right.
on there for a few more years.
Does it need to be compensated at a nominal amount, just,
Doesn't need to be.
okay. I mean,
That's why at first I said 100,
No,
but based on
that's
what Sue
no,
was
that's what I was
saying.
going to ask. I
In the
mean,
past, it was $1.
I-
Treasurer.
Was it a dollar?
I'm going to say, since it was in the employment thing, that this line item covers both.
okay, that's fine.
I mean, if we want to change the description to say CFO/treasurer for future years, that may help clarify it.
Salary ordinance says 100 to 200.
Want to clarify it in the salary ordinance. but
Yeah, 100 to 200.
CFO, treasurer.
Okay.
Finance Director, 901-201-30-140, 625 requested, 625 budgeted. We have not had a finance director since I can remember, right? So,
Yeah, I
we
mean,
just-
I'm budgeting half a year in case I can find anyone to step up to the position, but no one's anxious to
Remember,
take
one
that
person
on.
held the 3 positions at one
Yes.
time, treasurer,
Right.
CFO, and director. Okay.
oh, you're saying,
Is that not allowed in this form of government?
no, that is a lot.
It is.
We're saying.
I mean, you can change it by statute if you want to change it.
Because I've
Depends what
had
you
those
wanna do.
titles before, director with CFO and.
The
So that'd be up to the
problem
mayor,
was-
that's up to the mayor whether he appoints you as director or not, so we'd have to.
I don't think we have to change anything in the ordinance.
Well, we'd have to make it 1250 then if we're.
Oh, the amount,
Yeah,
yes.
you have to, well, yes.
In light of this quick conversation, then I'd like to change my requested to 1250.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the mayor has asked that we change 901, 20, 130, 140 to 1250. Is everybody okay with that?
Because it sounds like I may nominate Judy to be the director also for the entire year.
Judy, will you accept that nomination?
Yes, I would.
So we'll formalize it at the next meeting.
Well, is everybody okay with, are we okay with that, gentlemen? That's a typical directors typically make that's their stipend, so.
I'm fine with the amount, and I know
Yes,
Peter
we'll address it.
has had issues filling it, okay.
I think everybody's had issues, yeah, it's been an ongoing.
So I'll put that on the next agenda for discussion, do you want, or a resolution?
That's up to the mayor, we'll deal
We'll
with that
talk
later.
about it before the next
Okay.
meeting.
Deputy
Thank you.
treasurer,
Just one comment, putting the money aside, not that I care, but it actually, there's no real benefit. I mean, you're the CFO of the company, so you're the finance director, so there's no,
but in our form of government, it is something that should be.
There was a check
I
and
know,
balance.
we said this for 4 years in a row.
I'm just saying,
Nothing's ever
yeah.
happened, so I don't care,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying.
But like I said, no one has stepped up, and, I consider Judy very qualified to hold the position.
You were going to say something, Dr.
In the
Kessler?
past, there was a check and balance issue, okay?
Yes.
With these 3 items. And probably in 2014, we went back to the ordinance and we changed stuff having to do with signing off on POs. And that's why it was changed, for better or worse. And we thought that it really should, a person should not hold more than 2 of those particular.
Is that in the
Position.
ordinance? Is that in the ordinance that says it should?
Well, I'd have to go back and find out the original ordinance and how it was changed.
All right, well, so
But
before we
that's something-
proceed, let's
That's something
make-
we should, as a
It was never
council,
followed anyway. The
no, it was
procedures
never
were-
followed anyway, but it was a check and balance, and that's why you have the 3 different
procedures, no
Okay.
positions.
All right,
So I
well,
think as
it's a different
council,
discussion.
In a different discussion, go back and take a look at
Yeah,
that section
okay.
of the charter.
Deputy treasurer,
I'm
benefits.
sorry, are you all good at the 1250?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Deputy treasurer, benefits coordinator, 901, 20, 130, 160, 20,000 requested, 20,000 budgeted. Why the decrease?
It's combined with another position, another person. I mean, same person does multiple.
Oh, okay.
Tax
Functions.
collector and
Yes.
position are.
Our one item then?
Yes.
Okay. So we okay with that, gentlemen?
Can we,
Okay.
What's the other line item? Is it it's tax?
Tax collector.
Tax collector.
So, and maybe I misunderstood a comment you made earlier, Judy. If this is split, an individual who has 2 line items, that individual can only collect it.
She might have a problem, she might have been grandfathered in, I think the law might have changed. I don't know, when was she appointed this position, deputy treasurer, a while ago?
I don't even know who it is, quite honestly.
Because,
Same as a tax collector, if that helps you.
can we rice whoever it is and talk about it?
Rice everyone.
We're gonna write
We're
something.
gonna raise
Okay, so let's
everybody.
just-
But my concern, this is not a performance issue, and I don't know, or, I'm not talking about the
I see where you're
individual.
coming from.
I'm talking about
Yeah.
The pension part
the
of it.
pension and how
It might
we're
affect her,
organized.
how it might affect the person.
we're
Exactly.
organized, so.
So we'll flag this one,
Are we
gentlemen?
talking procedural?
Well, I think the amount's okay.
she
With
might
dual
have
roles.
grandfathered
Administratively,
in.
we
I
need
think
to
the
make
law-
sure
I think the law
the
took
pension is
effect-
protected.
I think the law took
So,
effect maybe a couple
We
years ago.
may need to move this amount to her, to that person's other item to
Item.
protect her,
Right, exactly.
that person, sorry.
But we're okay with the amount, gentlemen? The 20,000, once we see the other line item, I guess? We got to
Yeah.
see the other line item.
Again, I think that goes back to understanding the holistic
Right.
view of what people are doing and what they're getting compensated.
Good point.
But are we okay with the 160 number? Okay.
Yes.
Finance treasurer, office supplies, 1,000 requested, 1,000 budgeted. Are we okay with that? Postage line item, we're gonna leave it at 0 for 220. Subscriptions and books, line 240, 300 requested, 300 budgeted. Are we okay with that? We spent 289 last year.
Yes.
Finance treasurer, dues, meetings, and conferences.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Just-
Mike.
So we haven't had a full-time person here in these roles for quite some time, as the CFO.
Oh, so you're saying, do we need more?
Do we need, like, to me, that sounds low because, as an accountant or in finance, you want to keep currency with laws, regulations. I mean, I don't know if it changes as much, but if we need more.
Judy, you okay with this number? I guess you helped put it together, so.
Right now, I've seen all the books that I need so far here, and we have copies of NJSA. I know Susan has the administrative code. I believe Joy has the tax code. So I don't think.
So you're okay with the number? All right, all right, I
And I do a
appreciate
lot of
this.
research online.
Okay.
Finance treasurer, dues, meetings, and conferences, 901-201-3250, 1,000 requested, 500 budgeted. Is this a typo, or is this a change?
I think there was a reason for that, Bob. I'm not 100% sure.
What account you on?
Judy, you want to chime in?
Page 9.
Oh, the first one on page 10.
First one on
Page
page 10,
10.
Last
it's
nine,
that
first
weird
10.
control.
I don't know if that was changed, but I think it should be 1,000 because I'm full-time here, and I would have to go to the GFOA conference in
Yeah, I have
September, and I would have to go to the league also.
So this is 1,000 and 1,000 should be?
Yeah.
So, Mr. Mayor, you're going to change that to
I am.
1,000 and 1,000?
Yes.
So gentlemen, 901-201-3250, 1,000 requested, 1,000 budgeted is a typo. The mayor just requested to change it. We okay with that? Finance treasurer, travel expenses, 300 requested, 300, again, it's changed, so it should be 300 and 300, Mr. Mayor?
It's all 300s.
I don't think on that one, we were doing the only real travel we would have there would be for the league.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the, what the policy was here, what you pay for, what you don't pay, I didn't know. Because I know years ago, the CFO used to have a mileage stipend here too, so I don't know.
Was that in the list?
It's
No,
not on the list
CFO
now,
was
It's
but
not in the
that's-
list?
No.
Okay.
Do we make it 300 and 300, gentlemen?
Oh,
Mr. Mayor, you recommend the 300 and 300, or leave it at 300?
You think you'll use it, Judy?
I think I would.
Okay.
I think I would, I
Okay.
mean,
Then I'll change my recommend.
To 300?
Yes.
Okay. Gentlemen, for
I'll try not to,
280,
but-
we're going to change that to 300 as per the mayor's request. Are we okay with that?
Yes.
Finance treasurer, furniture and equipment, it's for a new printer for tax bills, 1,500 requested. Again, why we change, okay.
Well, this one was
750 and 750.
specifically from Joy. Sorry, tax collector,
We outsourced the
That was
tax
outsourced,
bills, yeah.
because we went over that, our bills are outsourced.
So it could be, that's why we cut that one.
Want to flag this one, and you
there
guys
was
get back?
definitely that particular printer she needed to purchase for documents. And now I could be wrong on whether it was bills, but your standard printer was not going to handle that task.
Let's flag
I'll
it.
Flag it and
verify that.
We'll flag
Start
300, gentlemen, and we'll get back for more information on the next one. Finance treasurer, payroll services, 901-201-3320, 15,000 requested, 15,000 budgeted. Are we okay with that?
I think that's standard.
What's that?
I think that's standard amounts.
I think the 2018 was a little low because maybe not everything is in there yet from like year end and stuff like that.
Yeah, because you look at
Fair
2017, it was
statement, right.
15,000.
Around 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
15.
So I was at 9 last year? The actual 9.6.
I'm thinking maybe December charges.
Right, that's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking also, yes, and year-end printing of W-2s and all like that.
Because they always send that bill late.
Right.
Okay, but so, we're closing our financial records. Don't we, I know there's municipal, I mean, in the real world, I would accrue $5,000. Don't you
Right.
encumber, or whatever the term
Well, you can't
use?
encumber if they don't give you the bill. And a lot of times they'll send that bill in February.
For payroll services?
Yeah, because
The
you got to wait for the
year-end part of
W-2s
it.
to be printed, right?
Yes,
So
they wait to print all that, then they give you one big bill for all that stuff.
So in this world of accounting, if you don't get a bill, we don't do anything?
You really can, what do you have to go by?
We can't be
You
general.
go by, it's a contractual rate, plus they charge you for a W-2s, so
Well-
we pay X amount per payroll, right?
I don't really think that you should encumber if you don't really have any kind of idea what you're encumbering, because that's going to affect your bottom line the next year when you roll over into the new year. Because say if I didn't know, say if that was going to be more than what I have, I can't encumber it, I have to make a transfer.
But we spent 15,000, we budgeted 15, right? We spent 10 this year, we're budgeting 15 next year, which looks like is what we spend, but we're still 5 short, so technically next year should be 20?
No, it was averaging around 15, so there's
Yeah.
probably some bills that weren't submitted there.
Right. So
we
we're
don't have a-
averaging 15
Right.
again,
So if you-
but we have 5,000 we didn't get yet, so we should have 20 then.
You've gotten, this is 10,000, so you have about 5,000.
What's going to get billed against
Okay.
2018?
So it's probably the last quarter, and it's probably all the W-2s, any kind of ACA reporting, all that stuff would be in that final bill.
Let's do a deeper dive on this one. There's another
I'm
question.
just
I mean, we
curious.
could,
What
Would
page
this
is the
come out of like when they
It's
submit the
page
bill?
23.
Would we pay it as paying a prior year bill, or that doesn't
well, when it
factor
comes in, you could still actually pay
Pay
it
it
from
for the first 3
budget,
months,
you know.
right. Mhm.
But what we could do is going forward, we could get an idea, say, listen, can you give us an idea as to what your final bill would be?
My-
Even
my
if you
only
gave us
point
a
is
quote,
we-
then you could encumber
We've
it.
been spending 15 to 18 a year. This year, we spent 10, so we're short. We're saying we didn't get the bill. So next year, whether we got the bill or not, we'd still spend 15, plus we have another $5,000 bill that's coming, unless every year we're 5,000 behind. But I don't think that's the case.
I don't think that's what's happening.
Right.
Well, the only thing is, you are spending 19 as far as your cash, but you're charging your 18 budget. But remember, you have a 2-year budget always.
Okay, but again, we're saying next year, so next year, we spend, I mean, what's the service?
Well, next
fee?
year's
What-
printout, Bob, is going to show this being
No, but
15,000.
we should have an amount we pay for payroll services. It's a contractual rate. They charge you so much a run, so much a mailing,
Why don't-
so much of whatever.
It
Yeah.
was going-
Mr. Ullman already asked for that, so we're going
Okay.
to put that together, so why don't we come back to you with a more complete answer?
Good, thank you.
It's probably coming in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll flag that for payroll services.
Okay.
I did ask them.
You did.
Finance treasurer training, 901-201-3370, 1,000 requested, 1,000 budgeted. We okay with that, gentlemen? For training?
Definitely going to use the training.
Yes.
That might have to go up a little because accounts payable is in purchasing, and I have also registered for purchasing. And one thing I think that I don't know if it's going to, was going to go, but I know we took, I'm in purchasing 1 right now.
Judy?
They mentioned, I'm
Talk
sorry,
into your microphone.
that purchasing 3 really goes over bid specs, and I don't really know if we have anyone here that is that well versed in bid specs.
So we're suggesting we up it to,
I think maybe it should go to maybe even like 2,000 because the class is 1,000 a person purchasing 1.
Mr. Barry, would you like to raise that to 2,000?
you're changing your requested then, Judy, to 2?
I think it would be
Okay,
2,000
and then I'll change my recommend.
because right now we spent that.
Gentlemen, on 370, the mayor has asked that we add another 1,000 to make that line item 2,000. Are we okay with that?
Yes.
Printing 00, finance treasurer miscellaneous expense, 901-201-3500, 300 requested, 300 budgeted. Are we okay with that? Financial services fee, 901-201-32-200, 13,000 requested, 13,000 budgeted.
I do not support that. So that was for review of financial records, prep of budget, prep of supplements, management advisory services.
What page are you on, Mike?
I'm on actuals on page 25.
It's large fancy, but the idea was to get a full-time CFO, which we spent money for, and eliminate this service.
Or
The only thing
large
is that-
aspects of it.
There are
Large
some
aspects
functions
of
that
it.
they're going to do though. They're going to be doing the AFS, right?
Don't they do the debt schedule, or you do the debt schedule?
I've always done it before,
Okay,
I mean,
good.
but they,
So you can
they've
do
been
it.
doing the ADS, let's see what else they've been doing. Let's see. I think they do part of the budget, because I believe that, I mean, even though I'm doing the budget, I think they do the budget document itself that gets submitted.
They do the short form and everything,
Usually
right?
the auditor does that, or someone on the outside does that. That's how it's set up on the system now with with
So
the
the
government.
auditor does that?
Well, I do the initial, but as far as the budget document itself, either they have the auditor submitted or they have someone else submit it onto the FAST program. I mean, I can take that over, I don't
Yeah, I
mind
was
doing
going to say,
that.
Judy, based on the descriptions, what would you suggest we take back, if you look at the actuals on page 25?
I'd like to look at what those actual bills are and what they bill for.
Okay,
So you want to
They want
flag
us to
this
flag
item?
that.
Can we flag
It
this?
says management services, says
Flag
different
it.
things. you
All
know,
right, we're going to
so-
flag 200.
They actually, we used to close the books, so you don't
Yeah.
understand too, which that shouldn't be anymore.
Right.
No, they didn't have that much to do with that this, last year,
Good.
because we got a lot of the reconciliations done.
Finance, tax collector, salary and wages.
No, you skipped audit services, it spans pages.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No problem.
Wow, that's a bad spot for it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
Audit services, 90120, 135, 200. 35,000 requested, 35,000 budgeted.
That's their contract, correct?
We okay with that? All right. Finance and tax collector, salary and wages, tax collector, 90120, 145, 110. I'd like to flag this one, gentlemen. I have questions on it, and I think some of it other people do, so we'll just leave it.
This will be riced.
Yes, they'll all be riced.
So Mike, I appreciate the desire to Rice to talk about
Oh, you want to,
people. My question is, can you talk about the strategy for the department? And if that gets into people, then I understand, then we'll Rice. But we have a tax collector part-time help, a deputy tax collector, and when we go back to admin, we said that a lot of the hours that individual works are in the tax office.
That was another 15,000, I
Yep.
believe.
20,000.
So
Just 20.
if, I highlighted that, again, I don't know if you want to talk about it now, or if it...
No, I actually do. Mr. Mayor, you okay with that?
Of course.
I think that,
Mr. Tova, before you start, 90120, 130, 160 is the same as this person, correct, on page 9? So the 20,000 in that line item would go to, so it is 20, gentlemen. So it's 90120, 130, 160, deputy treasurer, benefits coordinator is tied into the same
The tax collector.
tax collector. So those two are tied together if you want to just make note.
That's one person
Yes,
for the total amount,
yes,
so 65?
yes.
5.5.
Correct.
Before we start this, can we just take a couple of minutes?
For a break?
Yes.
We're going to end at 11:30, but if
Okay.
you want to just go till, Mike, if you need to go, I mean, that's fine.
No, I can hold it.
Before you said, I was going to say we're going to break at
I think we're
11:30,
gonna
so.
go for coffee run. That's what I think we're gonna do.
All right, start, I guess, so we'll start then.
That was good.
just to give you an overview on this, I'm not real sure of the history of the different positions here and what the intent was then. I know what the intent is now, and that is tax collector, full-time at the budgeted amount. The part-time help, I think, is something we need to have budgeted for. I'm not convinced the dollar amount is what we need. It might be something lower than that, but the deputy collector is something I don't really know that we have a need for.
I had an issue with the part-time help and the deputy because we have the floater.
I don't-
And we
So-
talked about the
Why
floater.
don't we flag them all and get a
I think one
better
guy-
understanding?
Get it consolidated and explained so that all the jobs that a person does are lined up. Is that what you were asking
That's
for in
something
your
we've
notes,
been trying
Mr.
to-
That's
Alden?
Mr. Alden's notes,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's-
No, but we
it
talked
seems
about the
necessary.
floater filling in
Yeah.
for tax reasons, but then all of a sudden we have
Or
a
in fact,
part-time.
double dipping,
Yeah, like we got
that person.
Yeah, but
We have 3 floaters in one department, that
I
means.
think that's the person that they call in when it's,
Right.
Oh,
heavy
yes.
tax
That's-
collector's
yes.
line, but,
You know-
But we said that's going to be the floater.
right, and we have the floater, and then we have
Oh,
some full-time.
there's times you're using
and-
both of them.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I've seen 3 people
But we'll
at the
get an
windows
explanation
when
on
other
it.
times there's nobody at the window
And then
at tax time.
the other question I had, and I don't know if, again, this goes, if we're venturing into Rice situations, but there was a deputy treasurer coordinator that last year made 45. Is last year's person that made 45 now making, is that the proposal, that they're now making 65?
65.5.
Within the one person,
Yes. Okay. And did both of these roles existed last year?
Yes.
Correct.
As two people or one person?
One, I
One
believe,
person.
yes.
Okay, so we should talk about that.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're going to flag 110, we're going to flag 120 and 130, right, gentlemen? Is that okay?
Okay.
We flagged the other one, didn't we?
Yes, we flagged the
I
other one.
believe you did.
Yes.
Under finance, tax collector, other expenses, office supplies, 750 requested, 750 budgeted. Are we okay with that for 210?
Yes.
Postage is 0, so we're going to leave that alone. Finance, tax collector, subscription and books, 901, 20, 145, 240, 110 requested, 120 budgeted. Are we okay with that?
I show 120 across the
120,
board.
120.
What did I say?
110 and 120.
Sorry, my eyes are
No problem.
120 and 120, gentlemen.
No worries.
Finance tax collector dues and meetings and conferences, 901, 20, 145, 250, 600 requested, 600 budgeted.
Yeah, if you see the note.
Is former collector covered by another town. Are we okay with that?
Yes.
You should thank that town.
Finance tax collector travel, 250 and 250. Are we okay with that for item 280?
The tax collector is different than the tax assessor.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
different
Yes.
person.
And Sue did say he is included in
The
the stipend.
assessor is collected, in there.
The assessor is included, the collector is not.
Correct.
Okay.
Wait, collector's included, assessor's not, all right.
No,
Yeah, so
assessor
this one,
is.
so this one worked. What's that?
Right.
No,
No.
the assessor
The
is.
assessor.
Yes, that's, it is.
This one covers the collector, the assessor gets the stipend.
Right.
Oh, okay.
You're for mileage. You
Right.
just gotta go out and go around and look at houses. and
Correct.
Yada, yada.
Yes.
Are we okay with this, gentlemen? Finance tax collector, furniture and equipment, 0. Can we eliminate this item since it's been over 5 years, right? Finance tax collector, training, 1,000 requested, 1,000 budgeted. Are we okay with this, gentlemen?
If we use it, because we didn't use it
We didn't use
last
any in 18, yeah, so. Finance tax collector,
Generally,
tax,
that person had time to go to a class last year.
Right.
Okay, is there, I'm assuming he has to maintain, I don't know what the term is, but does he have like CPEs that he has to maintain?
This is a different
Well, this
person.
is in,
This is a different person.
tax
This is the
collection.
collector.
This is the collector.
Yep, so I know CPE is not the correct term.
CEUs.
CEUs.
But do
CEUs.
they have units that he needs?
I don't know.
She does have that, but you do have some money in conferences. I don't know if that would cover that. You can get the CEUs in conferences.
I guess I support it if there's a need, and especially if there is a requirement to maintain currency.
And there's both there. I know there was a class last year that person wanted to attend but was unable to because of our staffing shortage, and there is CEUs.
What's CEU?
Continuing education
for your
units.
certificate,
Okay.
for your license.
Are we okay with 1,000, gentlemen, then?
Yes.
All right. Finance tax collector, tax bills, 901, 20, 145, 460, 4,000 requested, 4,000 budgeted.
Seems like they've been doing 3,000.
Why is
Yeah,
that going
I
up?
don't know why that's high.
Is there,
We did discuss this, and there is some kind of increase this year that will eat up most of that
Okay.
increase. So
thank you.
Finance tax collector, printing, 0 requested, 0 budgeted. Finance tax collector, miscellaneous, 850 requested, 850 budgeted. What would that be for, Mr. Tobin? Miscellaneous items, or?
just that miscellaneous. I don't like miscellaneous. I understand the need for
Yeah,
it,
it's a
but I think we
necessary
should have
evil.
one miscellaneous for all of administration to a larger amount so we can better control it.
We can work on that for
Then-
You
next
know,
week,
so
yes.
that's another thing I would like to change.
It was Edmonds.
Edmonds?
It's probably the extra help.
Tax collection and the WIP tax annual.
Oh, for
Maybe
the-
the annual fees?
Wait, which one are we talking
That
about here?
shouldn't be in there. and-
500.
I'm sorry, 500, I'm sorry, that was the tax, 500 was the tax sale, sorry, 500 was the tax sale.
It's a media.
Oh,
Tax
tax
sale.
sale.
Yeah,
Advertising.
that was the advertising for the
tax
tax
levy.
sale.
Okay, all right, so we got to leave money in there for that.
Yeah, you
All
have
right.
to have that.
Well, unless you change that to legal advertising or something.
But we should, yeah, I mean, it's
So
not
do
really
miscellaneous?
miscellaneous. We pay
Because she always has a tax sale every year.
Again, I'd like to think that we'll do a lot of this year for next year's budget, now that we have proper staffing to,
Well, we don't have that title.
We don't have a
We could
legal
put
expense
that
budget in
there.
her, a lot, in control line, so.
We
So
probably,
could we create a new one?
for next
you're
year.
right, correct, add it in.
We could change that, yeah.
Consolidate, yes.
Finance tax collector software licenses, 901-201-45-810, 3505 requested, 3505 budgeted for Edmonds,
Well,
so
your
that's
eyes are really
contraction.
playing tricks on you. 3405.
Time to
And
go.
as you
I
can see,
forgot my
that's
glasses.
that's
Thank
kind
you.
of exact for the years.
3405.
If we have an exact bill for that or not,
That should be the exact.
I mean, I don't know, I mean, normally they do go
I have not
up a
received their
little.
bill yet, but
Yeah.
they said.
Well, it looks
was
like they
not
haven't.
Oh, they
going
said,
up this
okay,
year.
they said they were not going up,
But I'll
okay.
believe that when I get the bill.
Okay,
So,
There's
okay.
two bills, just so you know.
I mean, they're normally pretty good, they normally don't go up.
Yeah,
year to
very
year.
much, right.
Are we okay with the 3405, gentlemen?
Yes.
Finance tax assessors, salary and wages for tax assessor, 901-201-50-110, 2555 requested, 20,555 budgeted. We okay with that?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Is the tax assessor and the tax assessor's clerk part of, well, the tax assessor I know is an individual, a unique individual.
Right.
The tax assessor's clerk, is that
Now,
someone?
wearing more than one hat.
Okay,
Yes.
So, okay, so,
She's wearing-
Another one covered.
We'll get the list.
okay.
So we okay with 110, gentlemen?
For the tax assessor, yes.
Okay. Tax assessor clerk, 901-201-50-120, 5,400 requested, 5,400 budgeted.
Flag it.
I would like to, I'd flag it just to understand it.
So we're not flagging the amount, just the.
Just to understand the
Right.
position.
Okay.
So we're okay with the 5,400, but we want more description on the position.
Yes, because, and just understanding that that amount may change based on
Yeah. like we said.
our understanding of the,
Pensioning, maybe, ties into that again.
or even, you know, so my view is, we have all of these part-time positions. We've made progress in certain areas in filling, converting to full-time.
Right.
You know, is this area or other areas? And so head count and personnel strategy, I think, should be overlaid on any one of these numbers.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
I guess, Mike, to get a better picture, Bob, can we create like a matrices to show each person and maybe underneath that person who they report to and what their job description? I know it's a bigger thing.
Well, it's
than-
not,
But we need to, like, I'd like to
Yeah.
know, like Judy's
organizational
department.
chart
Like an
almost.
organizational chart, like I'd like to know, this person works in Judy's department, this person works in Sue's department, this
Yeah.
person works in your
you
department.
know, a couple years ago, you guys approved a new organizational chart. Was that ever shared with you guys? It's got to be redone, but, you know.
I guess
I
Mr.
don't
Tolman's
remember
It's
redoing
one
it.
flat line, but,
Never seen one.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I've seen a org chart that has basically you and, or
Who does what
the
to
mayor,
and where.
and everything report, there's no,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah, there's
completely
no-
flat.
But it's
There's no
right.
span of control,
There's no
there's
flow.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
I'd like to redo it showing, person A reports to Judy, Judy reports to the administrator.
Sure.
and a
I think that's what I'd like to see,
Yeah.
but I'd also like to see, like, because we're gonna rice all these people, I'd like to see the person's name there, and I'd like
Sure.
to see
Duties, where they're at.
all her
Boom,
functions
boom,
or
boom,
all
boom.
his
two
functions.
versions,
think
and
you
one by
need-
title.
Yeah, one by title and
I
one by
think the
name,
code
right?
states-
Right, Mike? That's what you were looking for
Something
also, I think.
On the CFO office, I think the code does state some of that on the CFO office.
Yeah, but I'd like
I
to
mean,
put,
used to when Jackie was here, I don't know if that has changed.
but Judy, I'd like to put title and then have a confidential
Nothing's
Yes.
changed.
rice that shows the actual person's name, so
Yes.
he or she is like,
Yes.
I could say, oh, wow, that person's doing all these functions,
Yeah.
and now I know the face of the person that's supposed to be doing all these functions, that's
Yes.
all.
That was on Mike's list, did you have that on your
Yeah.
list?
Yeah, we did.
Yes.
That's what I said, going off Mike's.
Mike's list,
The mic list.
the Mike list.
Right next to Craigslist.
Finance tax assessor office supplies, 901-20-150-210, 500 requested, 500 budgeted, are we okay with that? Finance tax assessor subscription and books, 100 requested, 100 budgeted, are we okay with that? They've spent $0 to date, so, I mean, do we
But-
just leave it alone as a
For
placeholder?
$100.
All right.
And again, I think now the person there wants to.
Okay. Finance tax assessor dues, meetings, and conferences, 700 requested, 700 budgeted. Are we okay with that?
As long as they go.
Finance tax assessor travel, 450 requested, 450 budgeted.
See, that shouldn't be,
Right.
because he has the stipend.
Right. Yeah, you
He's got the
can't double
stipend.
dip.
He can't double dip.
So we gonna get a refund from him?
Well, I don't know
I
about
think
from
that-
last
I would say we
year,
pull
but-
it for this year,
Yeah.
obviously.
So make it 0?
But then it will, back up.
Yep.
Does the stipend show anywhere else in there? I don't see it.
Oh, should this be
So this should be the stipend.
the $300 stipend?
Well, it'll be 600.
No, it'd be 300, no, because 300, it was always 300.
300.
It's always been 300 this
Oh,
time.
for
So we
him?
should-
Oh, I thought everyone gets.
So just
I thought
change the
every-
word travel to
Well,
stipend.
it's
Stipend.
It's only
3 to
authorized
6.
to travel.
Depends.
So gentlemen,
Oh,
So
okay.
reduce that to 300?
yes, we're gonna
Reduce
reduce
to 300.
280 to 300,
And should
Okay.
we change that title?
Yes.
yes. So we're gonna make it travel stipend, right?
Correct.
Or
So,
mileage, travel stipend or mileage?
Minus 150.
However it is in the other ones, we'll,
Okay.
And it'll be 300, right?
yes.
Right, we had something else.
And we have the checks and balances in place, that doesn't happen again, that we pay him
Correct.
for both?
Oh, that's gonna be it. It's, you
Yes.
know, well, I'm gonna actually, I think he is under me. It used to be that way. I don't know if it is, but. he wasn't-
Organizationally.
Well, he was under the CFO, so I'm gonna tell him that,
Okay.
that's it.
Tell him it was a one-time deal that.
Right. It was an oversight and,
Yeah.
you know.
Party's
Finance
over.
tax assessor, furniture and equipment, 100 requested, 100 budgeted. Does he need something? Because he's never spent a dime.
He needs fireproof file cabinets to keep all the tax cards in, and I don't know what.
Well, $100 ain't
gonna buy
That's what I
that.
was worried about. 100 won't buy a fireproof file.
He does have fireproof cabinets now,
I know.
but there's one that needs to
I
be
would imagine,
replaced.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's one that's got, must have been dropped at some point, the drawers don't line up anymore, so we do have it budgeted elsewhere for a new one.
Okay.
so
Oh,
I
we
would,
do?
Yeah.
I would
do,
suggest we
okay.
just pull this then.
Because I know they are necessary.
Can we just
Take it
eliminate
out.
this?
Take it out.
Just this,
Make it
the
0.
100, make
Sure.
it 0.
Can we just eliminate the line since it hasn't been spent 5 years?
Okay.
Well, you gotta let the
We
history
budgeted.
fall
It's
off.
in
Oh,
budgeted.
if we
It's been
budgeted it,
budgeted.
even though, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna make 300 0.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. Finance tax assessor, legal advertisements, $50 requested, $50 budgeted. We okay with that?
Yes.
Finance tax assessor, tax books, 2,000 requested, 2,000 budgeted.
Yes.
I'd like to look at that, only because sometimes that goes up, and we have a bill that came in actually, and it might be near that, but I'm not sure.
So you wanna flag it?
So I want to just flag
What-
it.
what-
This is for the cards that go out every year.
Oh, telling people what they paid for their tax?
Right.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's not actually
It's saying tax
books
books,
for
but it's
him.
actually.
It's those
not.
it's a little package you got for your taxes we just got the other day.
Right,
Oh, I thought this
A
was,
little postcard, yeah.
I don't know why it's
We'll
called,
give to
but
our
that's what
accountants,
that
I'm
is.
sure.
Break after this, or-
Yeah,
I
we're-
didn't
yeah.
understand
And then
that
we'll pick
from
up the
that.
rest of
I'm pretty sure that's what that is.
We're gonna do printing and then we're gonna stop. We're gonna stop at the end of page 13 if that's
It's
okay.
under, I don't know if we use microsystems or we use
I would just
Redax, but that's.
do the
I
next
think
two, go to
that's
the end of
under-
the department.
Yep, finance tax assessor, printing, 0 requested, 0 budgeted.
so was the 2,000 flag, the tax book
Yes.
was flagged?
Because Judy might think it might be more,
I just want
right?
to check the bill.
Finance tax assessor miscellaneous, 901-20-150, 500, 100 requested, 100 budgeted. Are we okay with that, gentlemen?
I think that sounds reasonable
Okay.
as a contingency, no?
All right. Finance tax assessor, computer software, 100 budgeted, 100 requested for 901-20-150, 820. Are we okay with that?
Said we eliminated.
Yeah.
No, it's a special
Realistic or-
piece of software he wants to buy one time this year.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And there was a purchase years ago for 1,500, I don't,
Yeah, that I don't know, but I
Yeah,
remember him
we
saying
budgeted,
that there was one.
No, it was never spent.
One piece of software, it's a
Does a-
one-time cost he wants to do
We
this
gave
year.
us.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right,
Right.
so we okay with that? All right.
My eyes are failing me.
$100?
Special emergency tax map revisions, 901-201-53200. Mr. Mayor, can I make I'd like to flag this.
Okay.
Can we have the new borough engineer look at our tax maps and make sure we're up to date and they meet the state requirements? Because I don't think they do.
Okay, be happy to.
And I think we are in for a little bit of an expense here, gentlemen.
Okay.
They're not digitized yet.
Wait, didn't we just do, they didn't get updated with the revaluation we did?
No, that has nothing to do with tax
Different,
maps.
No, but I understand they're two different things, but when we did a major revaluation and visited every household and all of this, we would not have updated maps at the same
No.
time?
No.
So what happens is like every subdivision the planning board has seen
Yes.
has to be,
Right,
the map has to
updated.
be physically updated. And I don't think,
digitized.
and I don't
hopefully.
think they've
No.
been digitized or updated in years, so.
They have to be updated.
I'd like to-
And qualified again.
Correct.
And so annotated at the bottom of the map.
So we'll flag that one and we'll stop there and we'll go to Department of Law on Monday night at 7 PM if everybody's okay?
And if you like, Mr. Kernan, will work on all the other ones that we can go over on Monday that don't require the department head to be
I
there?
cannot attend Monday, but since, Bob
You
and
said
Judy
Monday.
can, if you have any specific
7
questions for
o'clock,
me,
it's
just
already
hold them.
advertised for 7.
Oh, fine.
7?
7 o'clock.
These are the items that we've received bills on, like the PERS and the health and all that. Should have copies for-
Do we
Oh, you
know
have
what?
copies for everybody?
Yes.
I know we want to try to continue forward.
Yeah.
So Department of Law,
you take one in?
Department,
Thank you.
Public Affairs will review, Land Use,
Take one and pass on.
WCTV, those are all, we plan, okay.
And there's going to be some toward the,
Sorry, no, you go ahead.
there'll be others on the insurance and healthcare and all that. we'll
Okay.
cover.
Do you want to try and set any future meeting dates so I can give the few departments who we're going to want in a little notice of the when
Gentlemen,
they
could we
would be
maybe Monday
requested?
night, I would say we're gonna meet again next Saturday, right? I mean, to try to get this.
No,
Oh,
can't do. No, we can't do, because
still there?
neither one of us, Cornelia and I, neither one of us can come.
All
We
right.
both have plans Saturday.
all right, well, Monday night, we'll discuss,
Next
We
meeting
could go
dates.
into, we have a Monday night meeting the following Monday. We could do what we've done in the past, is spend the conference agenda and work on budget.
that's probably what we'll
How
do.
long does it take to rice these people if we want to?
I have to have 48 hours.
We can't
And that
get it done by
means-
Monday. It's not gonna be
No.
done Monday, no.
All right.
Yeah, and I would
It'd have to be the following
I
Monday.
understand, I understand.
Yeah, it'll be the following Monday that everybody will be riced and ready to.
Sorry.
So gentlemen, Mr. Tomo has just given us
Charge by then, right?
the bill of the actual expenses for PERS and PFRS and all that you had asked for, and health and benefit invoices also.
Are we going to be able to talk about the dental? There was a list of bills, there was a question on dental for retirees or not.
See if we're gonna continue that, right?
Yes, so I just want to make sure, even though we got the bill, that we discuss it.
Well, I guess we were supposed to find out when the ordinance took effect that we got rid of it, right? Mr. Cassio, you had brought that up?
Yeah, I'll take a look into it. and see.
And it was that we could go back and eliminate, or no?
All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
I believe it was
Councilman
no
Bruno?
additions.
Councilman Cassio?
Additions. Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Ullman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes, thank you,
Thank
gentlemen
you.
and ladies.
I don't, frankly.